Hello, this is Miss Candy from TPOT Media. Welcome to Dark X. Yeah, understand. Dark. Yeah,
Peace, folks, and welcome back to another edition of Dark Exodus on the old TPOT YouTube page. I'm your host, X, of course, but you knew that already. That's why you are here. Happy Thanksgiving to all you turkey lovers out there. Glad y'all decided to stop by. We got a special Thanksgiving throwdown tonight, as you can see on the title right here. The title is Acting Black or White. I hope y'all had a good and safe Thanksgiving. I hope y'all didn't eat too damn much today. Hopefully you're not too drunk and ain't smoked too many blunts that you can actually pay attention and be up in here and not write nothing crazy up in that comment section right over here. Got a good show for y'all tonight. I actually was able to get a few brothers on tonight. I got Brother Gab Talk Media coming on tonight, Brother BMT, Brother Nagone, and a few others. You know, I'm going to surprise y'all. We're going to see who show up tonight. We're going to see who show up. But like I said, tonight, we're going to be talking about acting black or white. Now, We as black folks, we are not unfamiliar. We're not unfamiliar with this kind of crap. You know, we've all known someone who has been accused of quote unquote acting white. We've all known someone who has accused someone of acting white. Hey, we might have accused someone of acting white. We may have been accused of acting white ourselves, whatever the hell acting white means. Now, in all honesty, when we as black folks, usually now, I'm not saying all black folks, now, some of us black folks, usually when we talk about someone acting white, what are we talking about? We're talking about their use of words, uh, their diction, the way they talk, their vocabulary, and possibly the way they dress, the way they carry themselves, how they live, right? But I would assume it's the same thing for white folks. When we say, when white folks say a white person is acting black, what are they trying to say? Or forget about white folks. When we say someone's acting black, what are we saying? We're saying what? That they're using slang, that they're dressing the way we would dress. Maybe it's the way they cut their hair, do their hair, their diction, their vocabulary, their vernacular, how they live their life, what they do, where they hang out. Now, me personally, I've never accused anybody of acting white. Um, I may have accused someone as acting off color, but I've never accused anybody of acting white because I don't know what acting white is. I mean, I don't really understand the term, to be honest with you. I don't really get the term when you say someone's acting a particular color. Hey, what's good, Mr. Black Culture? Um, I don't really get it when someone says you're acting white, you're acting black, you're acting, I mean, who owns what? Who owns what culture? Who owns what words? Who owns what? Um, I've often heard people talk about how we as black folks try to live like a white person, but I don't think that's possible either. I mean, what is living like a white person? That's the same as saying you're acting like a white person. What does that entail? I mean, what does that consist of? I mean, what does that mean? You know, what does it mean to be acting like a different ethnic group or a different race than what you are? What does that mean? Are you not using the correct words? Are you not speaking the correct way? Are you dressing in an incorrect way? I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. And it seems like we as black folks have a tendency to kind of use those terms more than anything else. I mean, we kind of quick to accuse people of acting a particular way. I mean, we quick to do that. You know, we're quick to accuse somebody of acting white, uh, acting acting gay, uh, acting strange, acting, we're quick to accuse somebody of acting a particular way as if any particular way we carry ourselves or speak or act defines blackness. I think that's where we go wrong as black folks. I mean, we got to understand that there are many different levels and textures to black folks. And I don't think that any particular way of acting is indicative of being black. I mean, I just don't. I mean, we have black folks who are educated. We have black people who are uneducated. We have black people who can who can express themselves through their vernacular and their diction and their vocabulary. And then we have black folks who can barely string a sentence together. We have black folks who dress really, really classy and sharp. We have black folks who dress street, or quote unquote hood. I mean, we have black folks who have corporate jobs. We have black folks who have blue collar jobs. So, I mean, when we try to put these labels on black folks as if, you know, we got to be a particular way, we have to act a particular way to be considered black. I mean, I rub up against that, you know. I mean, we've had these discussions before. We've had these discussions before when we talk about political parties, when we talk about Republicans and Democrats. Now, me, I don't fall on either side. I've been an independent for many, many years. You know, I've been left a Democratic plantation a long time ago. I stopped having any faith in any kind of party. I'm the type of person where I vote issues and that's it. Okay, if you speak to the issues, you can get my vote. All right, I've been an independent for a long time. And I don't think that that makes me less black because I'm not a Democrat. Just like I don't think it makes someone less black because they're a Republican. You understand? I mean, I don't think our blackness is is described in those ways. I don't think that's indicative of our blackness, man. I don't. I mean, I don't think we all supposed to act the same way because we don't come from the same areas. We don't share the same experiences. We don't all have the same background. Okay. We don't come from the same, all of us don't come from the same social economic groups. We just don't. We don't all come from the same part of this country or the same part of the world. So I don't think anything can that we do or say or how we vote or what we wear or how we talk. I don't think any of that can conclusively dictate what our blackness is. Okay, let me be clear about that, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things about me that people will say, oh, X, you're not black, you're not acting black, you're not talking black, you're not dressing black, you're not whatever. All right. And like I said, when we start putting these labels on folks, man, we make a very big mistake, man. We make a very big mistake. And usually what happens when we say this kind of stuff about people, man, we're saying this stuff because they're doing something that we disagree with. There's something else we got to stop doing. We got to stop accusing people of not being black just because they disagree with us. And I mean, there's been a lot of that lately, man. And I don't just mean on this YouTube shit or on these hangouts. I'm talking about in real life. All right. In real life, we have a tendency to do that. If someone disagrees with us and they happen to be black, the first thing we want to do is question their blackness because they disagree with us. Like, to me, that's just stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid. I mean, we all black folks, because when it come down to it, if somebody say black folks on this side, white folks on this side, no matter how they vote, how they talk, where they came from, where they went to school, or how much money they got, guess what? All of us are going to be standing on the same side, okay? We're going to be standing on the same side. Now, some of us as black people, we don't like to identify as black. And you know what? I don't have a problem with that either. I really don't. If you're a black person, but you don't identify yourself as black, now, even though I see you as a black person, guess what that means? Nothing. Because you are allowed to be whatever you want to be. You understand? Now, I look at you, I'm going to call you black, but you may look at yourself and call yourself an Indian. You may call yourself an Indian. Shoot, you may call yourself an Asian. God damn it. Shoot, you may say you're white. Shoot, I seen the black chick on TV said she was black and she was black and said she wasn't. She said she was a white person. So That's up. If that's what if that's what you want to think, that's what you want to think. But I would never question someone's blackness by the things they do or what they say. You understand? By the things they do and what they say. All right. I mean, I would never question someone's blackness. You know, just like I wouldn't let anybody question mine because they don't like what I do. They don't like what I say. They don't like how I dress. They don't like where I work. They don't like where I live. None of that shit don't have nothing to do with my blackness. None of it. None of it. Okay. Because I don't think black is so much of a color anyway. I think it's more of a mind state, man. You know, I think our blackness is a mind state, man. I don't think it's so much of a color or anything like that. I mean, I think it's more what's going on in our heads at any particular time. You know, forget whether we look black. Do we think black? Do we think black? Do we think black? All right. That's what we need to be focused on, especially when you're talking about trying to label other people. You're talking about trying to label other people, man. I think we got to keep that in mind because we often get lost, man. We get lost with trying to tell other people, man, who they are, man. We do. We get lost in that, and I'm guilty of that shit too. I'm guilty of it too. You know, trying to tell people who they are. We should be asking them who they are as opposed to trying to tell them who they are. That's what I think. Because we don't know what's going on in someone's head. We don't know what they're thinking about until they tell us. You know, we don't know what they're thinking about until they tell us. So we as black folks, man, we got more shit to worry about as opposed to watching these little nuances in a person's personality or a person's speech or way a person's dress, trying to tell them who they are, whether or not they're acting, quote unquote, acting black enough. All right. Whether or not they're acting white. You know what I mean? I mean, we got bigger fish to fry. And not only that, I mean, if somebody's quote unquote acting white, let them. If you if you think they're acting white, let them. If you don't identify with what they identify with, so be it. So be it. You know, because you take a look in the mirror, there may be some things about you that people will look at and say you're not acting black. They may say you're acting Asian. God damn it. You're acting Latino. God damn. You never know. You know, a lot of times, man, when we be talking about other people, a lot of times we need to look in the mirror. Yeah, we need to take a long look in that mirror because sometimes, boy, we be projecting shit. We project things to other people that actually apply to us. Okay, they actually apply to us, and we need to be conscious of that, man. We need to be conscious of it, and we need to be cognizant of it, instead of just sitting around trying to throw labels on people all the time, like we're this we're this wizard, this oracle of what people are supposed to be. That's another thing, man, that me myself too, I throw myself in the bag too. That's something else that we do often, man. We try to freaking we try to be this person who knows all and sees all and has the market on blackness and black culture and what it is to be black and all this old kind of nonsense. And I don't think any of us are in that position. I don't think any of us are in that position, especially when we sitting here on goddamn YouTube trying to tell people what to be. Okay. Because I think this YouTube shit has went to a lot of people's heads, man. It has. And I try hard to keep this shit from going to mine because this went to my head at times too. I think this YouTube stuff, man, has really went to our heads. All right. Because YouTube's got people on here, man, telling you all kinds of shit. Yeah, telling you all kinds of nonsense. And a lot of it is total freaking BS. Yeah, a lot of it is total BS. Like this shit real life. This shit ain't real life. It's not. It's not real life. It's really not. It's not. Okay? This YouTube shit, man, is good for one thing, basically, and one thing only. And that's for an exchange of ideas. Because like I always say, when I reach up and I close this laptop, boom, guess what? All of you disappear. I could never talk to you again, see you again, nothing. Okay? Because when this thing closes, I have a real life to live. I have real bills to pay. All right? I have real shit to do in my life, real business to take care of. All right? Real family to interact with. You understand? That's why I tell people all the time, man, I don't need no YouTube family, man. I got a real one. I say that shit all the time. Like, I don't need a YouTube family. I have a real one. I think what happens often is we get so caught up and, our subscribers and and the people watching, our viewers, our chat room, and all this kind of nonsense. We get caught up in it. Like this shit is our family. And really, it's not. Yeah, really, it's not. Right? Really, it's not. So, I mean, it's pretty black and white. No pun intended, but it's really kind of black and white. There is no gray area, man, in this stuff, man. There's no gray area in this, man. It's not. There's no gray area in this. It's really pretty black and white. All right. There's no gray area in this stuff, man. And like I said, I think we take this stuff a little too seriously at times. I've always said that. I will continue to say that because I tell people all the time, if somebody launched a damn torpedo into YouTube headquarters tonight, it wouldn't affect my bottom line, not one bit. Not one bit. It would stop me from being able to talk to y'all, but it wouldn't affect my bottom line. I mean, I'd still have my house, my cars, and all that kind of stuff. My life would still go on. My life would still go on. But yeah. So, I think we need to keep that in mind, man. This YouTube thing, man, is for an exchange of ideas, man. That's pretty much what it's all about, to be honest, man. It's more about that than it is anything else, man. It's for an exchange of ideas. And if people can take something from it, that's good. If people don't take anything from it and they watch it strictly for entertainment, that's fine too. I mean, it is what it is, man. Like a day like today, and many people are celebrating Thanksgiving. People are sitting around with their real families, okay? People who care about them, whether or not they're on YouTube or not, okay? People who care about them, whether they're on YouTube or not. That's what's real. That's what matters. That's what matters. I mean, I say this often too. I mean, this YouTube stuff, man, I do it in my spare time. That's why I always do it at night, because during the day I have other shit I have to do. I like doing this YouTube stuff. I do. You think I'd be wasting my time sitting up here and buying computers and making stupid signs to be behind me and having microphones and all this other kind of crap if I didn't like doing it? Of course I like doing it. I like doing it. But one thing I'm not going to let it do is give me this, like my man say, that God mic complex, where because I got a microphone and a computer that I'm somehow above the rest of you, because I'm not. I'm just a person, just like the rest of you. What's up, Brother Gab Talk? I'm not above the rest of you. I'm just like you. That's it. The only difference between me and you is that you decide not to get on this damn microphone and camera. You're probably smarter than me. You're smarter than me because you decide not to get on this shit. If anything, you probably better than me. Because a lot comes with this, man. A lot of unnecessary stuff comes with this stuff, man, and everything else, man. It's just crazy, man. It just is. But I enjoy doing it. That's why I do it. And I'll say again, I'm not better than anybody. I'm not above anybody. Okay. I appreciate the people who watch me and follow me and don't put likes in this damn section right here. I appreciate you too, even though you don't hit that like button when you come in here. I'm still glad you're here. Now I want you to put a like in there, but I still appreciate you, even if you don't. I still do. I still do. Cause I got like 20 folks in here right now. Y'all could be doing something else. Y'all could be watching football. You could be playing your PlayStation, getting that second plate of mashed potatoes, turkey and stuffing, So I appreciate y'all being here, man, because you don't have to be. You don't have to be, and you choose to be here. Anybody who's willing to spend their time watching some other Negro up on their computer should be appreciated, because there's probably about 7 million other things you could be doing besides this. And who knows, you probably could be doing something that's way more entertaining and more informative than sitting up here with OX and listen to him talk shit for 2 hours. I'm sure there's something. I'm sure there's something more valuable you probably could be doing with yourself, but you choose to be here. What's the matter with you? What's the matter with you people? But yeah, man, I got a good show for y'all tonight, man. I got a few good brothers coming on tonight, man, and you know how these DXLs get, man. These DXLs get crazy sometimes, boy, and yeah. I see. Hey, what's up? Simply Deep. What's good? Yeah, brother Gab Talk is gonna be on. I see he in the chat. Yeah, so we're gonna chop it up a little bit for y'all right here on the TPOT YouTube page. Try to give y'all a little Thanksgiving throwdown. Like I said, I have sent out the notice to some folks. Matter of fact, I gotta hit my man too. Let me go ahead and send him the link as well. He might want to come on. See what he got going on here. Go ahead and write him. So he'd probably be like, X, man, why you tell me you was coming on, man? I'll sit here and run my mouth until the brothers start to file in. Brothers start to file in. But yeah, like I said though, man, I hope y'all had a safe and happy holiday. Hope you didn't do nothing too crazy today. Hopefully you was around your family and people that love you and care about you. So I'll say again, that's what's really important. Around the people who care about you and love you and care about you no matter what. Hopefully got to see some people that you haven't seen in a while and stood around and kicked the shit with the folks that love you. What's good, Sharp Eye? See you up there. I see you up there. I don't know what the hell is going on with my computer right now, y'all. Shit's acting up. Crazy. Peace, brother Info Man. I sent you the link, brother. I don't know what you got going on, but if you don't got nothing going on, jump on up here. So I did send you the link, my brother. Info Man in the house. Very sharp. Very positive brother right there. I've taken quite a liking to the brother. Try to catch his shows as much as I can. It's like I can never catch him live all the time. I be trying to catch him live, but it'd be hard. But I always catch his stuff. Subscribe to both his channels. I suggest y'all do the same. And also make sure you subscribe to my man Gab Talk Media's channel as well. Because you know me, I'm hooked up with all the positive brothers. You know what I'm saying? So y'all need to go ahead and subscribe to Gab Talk Media and Infoman. Absolutely. Two brothers you definitely should subscribe to. Definitely. I'm subscribed to them. So I don't know if that inspires you or not, but I don't know if that inspires you, but trust me, I'm not subscribed to any BS people. You can go through my subscription list, and trust me, everybody I'm subscribed to, have a lot of good things to say. So, if you're new to YouTube and you're wondering who you should subscribe to, just go to X's page and look through X's subscriptions and just subscribe to all those people. Yeah, that's all you gotta do. And make sure you subscribe to me too. Yeah, subscribe to me too now. Don't just go through my list and subscribe to the people on my list. Make sure you subscribe to me too. All right. Hit that freaking subscribe button that shows up down there somewhere. All right. Make sure you subscribe to me too. All right. You're going to use my subscription list for a point of reference. You need to be subscribing to the old TPOT YouTube page as well. I'm just saying. Also, next week, well, I probably shouldn't tell y'all because they haven't confirmed yet. Y'all know we usually, those of you who follow the Prophet of Thought series, y'all know we usually do 2 shows. Now, I haven't been doing 2 shows the last couple of weeks because, y'all know, those of you who know me, y'all know, I work sun up to sundown most days except for Sunday. But my workload has slowed down. It does usually slow down around November. And we're going to start back doing the Wednesday night shows because y'all know, those of you who follow me, y'all know that we usually do a Wednesday night interview where we interview people, people that a lot of people don't get to talk to. We're going to be doing that. I actually interviewed somebody last night, so we starting back that way, y'all, because somebody had wrote me last week and they was like, oh, why you don't do the Wednesday night interviews anymore? Trust me, I'm going to be doing them. Okay, we're gonna get back on track, y'all. Like I said, my workload has slowed down a little bit. Y'all know in the wintertime, TPOT chugs it up a notch, because I can invest more time and energy into it because I'm not working as much as I normally would. I know y'all thought I was sleeping, because I haven't been making any pre-recorded videos. I actually did one the other day. That was the first one I did in like 3 months. Let me see. Yeah, about 3 months, because the last one I did was like July or August or something like that. And I know somebody happened to ask me about that too. They was like, oh, you don't make the pre-recorded joints no more. I didn't have the time. I mean, y'all don't know them pre-recorded videos, man. They take time, man. Especially if you got some graphics and audio and all kind of nonsense in there. This shit takes time. And guess what, man? I haven't had the time to do it. I just didn't. So I will be doing that too, because y'all have been asking me about that as well. Y'all been asking me about the pre-recorded videos, and y'all have been asking me about the Wednesday night interviews. And the answer is yes. We are going to be doing more of those now that it is winter time. We will be doing more. Okay. We might even throw in a third night. We might start doing Sunday night streams. I'm not sure yet because we used to do that too. I don't know yet. I don't know, folks. Don't hold me to that one because Sunday nights, what I usually do is jump on other people's streams, when I get asked, because a lot of brothers ask me, oh, X, come on, so I do come on when I can. So I try to do hey, what's up, Lady Linda? I see you up there. Yeah, 6 figure. I see you up there too. It's crazy because it's kind of hard for me to see the ones that ain't written, you know, the mods, because y'all know my ass old and my eyes bad. And goddamn it, I broke my glasses the other night, and my other pair of glasses, I can't find them shits. I don't know where the hell they at. So if I don't shout you out in the chat, it's not that I'm not noticing you. It's just that it's hard for me to read the little black letters. The blue letters stick out, so it's easier for me to read. Plus, I can look at your icon and kind of know who you are. Those little black letters, they get a little tough for me, man, if I don't know you. So don't think that I'm ignoring you. It's just that X ass is blind. So it's just that X is blind. So let's bear with me. I need to find my other pair of glasses. I broke them last night in here messing around and broke them. So I got to find my other pair. They're around here somewhere. I have no idea. I tried to get my wife to find them for me, and she was like, "Get out of here, nigga. I ain't looking for your glasses." So that's it. So no glasses it is. But yeah. But back to the topic. Actually, I can kind of identify with this myself. When I was in high school, I went to a mostly white school when I was a young guy because of where we lived. And the school that I went to, a lot of my friends didn't go to that school because they lived, you know, way off in another part of town. Y'all know how them districting is, you know, you live a certain place, you go to this school, you live in another place, you go to another school. So a lot of my friends didn't go to the same school that I went to. And, you know, I was accused, oh, you know, you're trying to be white, you know, you're acting white because you know, you go to this school with all the white folks and also kind of nonsense. But at the time, I was just going to school. You know, I didn't have the concept of acting white. And I'll say again, what is that? What is acting white? Is acting white being more educated? Is acting white having a good vocabulary? Is acting white being about your money and about business and not being into the hood culture? Is that acting white? Okay. And on the other side of that, what's acting black? Is acting black using slang all the time and ebonics and, you know, having your pants hanging off your ass and your baseball cap turned to the side and having bad diction and not interested in education and living in the projects? Is that what black is? Is that blackness? I mean, we throw these terms around, man, and I think it confuses a lot of us, man. I think it confuses us, and it definitely confuses young folks. I know it has to, and when I talk about young folks, I don't mean the 25-year-olds. I'm talking about, you know, the little types, you know, that are 5 and 10, you know, and coming up. I know it has to confuse them, you know, when they hear this talk about acting white and acting black and, you know, as opposed to them just being taught to act like children. You understand? As opposed to just teaching them to be children. Are we teaching them that there's a difference between being black, acting black, or being black and acting white? Are we teaching them that? And are we doing it indirectly? Are we doing it
Peace.
indirectly? Hey, what's going on, brother Gab Talk? Are we doing it indirectly without even knowing it? Now, if we're doing it directly, we know we're doing it. Okay. It's just like when you know you're driving in your car and you slip from paying attention for 5 seconds and you hit a stop sign. You know, that's indirect. You know, you didn't know, it was inadvertent. You wasn't paying attention, it was an accident. It's different if you gun your engine and crash into the stop sign. Those are two different things. So are we doing that? I mean, are we inadvertently teaching our children that? Are we doing that? Um, Brother Gab Talk has just joined us. What's good, brother?
Peace, bro. I'm doing good, man. Just had some dinner with the fam.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just got back in and trying to catch up on the subject. I hear you talking about folks acting white and whatnot, and trying to define what the hell is that, right?
Yeah. What is acting white? And on the other side of that, what is acting black? I mean, what is it? I'm gonna shoot that at you, man. I want to hear what you got to say about it.
Yeah. I think it's both probably pretty superficial constructs made up by people in a world of white supremacy. Uh, and and experiencing what it means to be black under the foot of white supremacy creates two separate constructs, haves and have-nots, right? So to be uh, acting white is to have better education, to have uh, uh, more money, to have access to more things, and to be a little bit more cultured with respect to different things. And to have not is often the experience of those in the underclass. And so behaviors that are created uh, while you're in the underclass, where with less access to things that help you to become more cultured and refined, those behaviors are something that we assign to being black, but it's superficial. It's not, that's not what it is. You either are a person that is about bettering themselves and using the resources in front of you to be better, or you're not. So both things are superficial to me. In short, that's the short answer.
So, are we doing are we doing people a disservice when we accuse them of acting white? And what I mean when I say that, are we dissuading them from doing better, having more, doing more? Are we discouraging them from that when we say, "Oh, you're acting white"? Are we putting a negative connotation on trying to do more, have more, be better?
Absolutely. If you're telling somebody that they're acting white because they chose to say words uh, a little bit more pronouncedly, if they're speaking the King's English a little more because they recognize that, okay, in order to get a little further ahead in the King's world, while it's the King's world, uh, then I better speak the King English pretty well. Why rebel when I know I'm relying on the king for more resources? So, and they're doing that in the meantime, while they don't know how to, get the resources they need on their own without having to act a certain way. So in the meantime, you have to learn, in my opinion, how to act, you know, until you get your own. When you go home, you act, you talk, and you speak how you want. When you're in a place that is not owned by your folks, then it puts on you a responsibility. So people can call it, what they want. I think it's a disservice depending on what it is that I need. So you're not going to put on me that because I go into a business environment and speak interview language, like Dave Chappelle says, we speak interview and we speak, black folk talk, color, however he uh, described it. Uh, we can't allow ourselves to be held back from progression because somebody wants to put these labels on us. So I definitely think that it's a negative that keeps people from progressing. Now, the knowledge of self and understanding what these two different constructs are, meaning black life versus white life, is important. And so some people are sellouts. You know what I'm saying? Some people are doing that. So you just have to learn to have a mature discussion, and you got to know the people that are saying that to you. I suggest you look deeply into their life and what they're doing before you even begin to give it any credibility.
Yeah, because particular people can have a particular perception of life and say you're acting white. Um, and that's coming from their point of view, of course. It's coming from their point of view. So, like you said, you need to look at what's going on with them. Okay. I mean, my old man always taught me examine the source. Okay. That's
Hmm.
something my father always said. He said, "Oh, son, always examine the source." So I guess we have to examine the source. I mean, because one person telling you that you're acting white is probably totally different from the next person telling you that you're acting white, depending on, who those two people are. So I definitely agree with that. But often we look at white folks sometimes and we say this white person is acting black. So what are we saying when we say that? Are we saying they're acting black because they're using ebonics, the
Hmm.
way that they dress, because they got a bunch of
Right.
gold chains on? What?
Right. It's the to me it's the same, almost the same thing in reverse. Uh, the white person who has in some way admired black culture in America, they may choose at that point to move away from their own language. So yeah, they'll start speaking. Usually, what we're talking about is uh, when we say somebody's acting black or white, it's usually, from my experience, the superficial construct. But the problem is that when it's negative, we assign it to ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Or if I think I'm saying it right, we tend to assign things that, and I don't assign ebonics to be negative. That's that every people uh, has a dialect that they speak that is going to be unique to themselves. That's kind of natural. When people are separated, they got a way they gonna do it. Listen to how you talk up there. You in the northern hemisphere. That's y'all got a swag. That's how y'all do it. You come down to I'm down here in the DMV. We got a way that we're gonna do that we're gonna talk. You go down south, it's gonna be change some more. So these things are so if there's some white folks that admire the culture, they're just choosing to dive in either because they grew up. You got to look at what their whole background was. There's white folks sprinkled, in the city where I grew up, and a lot of them, some of them, kind of, in order to survive, they hopped into the culture. And so, to let you know, hey, I'm from around here too. I ain't quite you, but I know the lingo. I can speak the language. And so some people might tell them that they're acting black. So for me, it ultimately depend. It ultimately what matters is ultimately is what are you saying that being black is something that is considered negative, or and white is something that's positive? That is what really is mattering more to me than anything. Are we giving it a negative when we say black, and are we saying to be white, is that something that's leading us somewhere? I just think it's dumb as hell, dude, to say I'm talking white, or because I don't know what the hell is acting white, because I'm trying to start a business, or like because I'm investing. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to further myself. Usually when people say that, I'm really wondering what they're talking about. Now, if I got white supremacist talking points, that's different. Like meaning that I want to keep my foot on the impoverished. I want to step on people's backs in order to get where I want to go. Yeah, that type of being white is a problem. But the for somebody to act black, are you talking about because they're sounding, is it because to you they're sounding ignorant? And you're going to assign that to us? You know what I'm saying? They're not acting progressive and you're going to assign that to our culture? I hope I'm touching on what it is that you're thinking about. Have you made any conclusions yourself?
Well, it's mine. We've been joined by Brother Info Man too. What's good, Brother Info Man? Um,
I'm doing well, my brother. Thank you.
I
Peace, Info.
Peace, brother.
I often believe that when people say, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, I think that often when people have these negative things that they see in people who are not black, when they see these negative things, especially if these negative things resemble what they consider black to be. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily what black is, but it's what they perceive black to be.
Right.
So when they see these negative things in people who are not black, they'd be like, oh, he's acting black. You know, if he's a white person, they call him a wigger or whatever they would call him. You know, he's acting black because what he's doing resembles what they think black people are. I guess it's all about the perception, whatever they perceive, because some people can see a brother who is athletic or well built or muscular and look at a white boy who's built and muscular and say, oh, he's built like a black guy. You know, I guess it all has to do with what they're assigning.
Context.
Yeah, it's in the context of whatever they perceive, you know, blackness is. Now, more often than not, you know, it's not that. You know, it's usually if they're using slang and ebonics, if they wear their clothes baggy, if they have a certain diction, you know, a certain haircut, or you know, whatever they do, and especially if they hang out with black people, they definitely gonna say, oh, they're acting black. Just being a white person that hangs out with black people is going to be accused of acting black, and vice versa. If you're a black person, excuse me, and you hang out with white people, more often than not, we're going to accuse you of acting white because you hang out
so that's
with
the
white
question.
folks.
So I think entering this kind of conversation, I think it's probably best when somebody says it, whoever makes the statement. I think my first question is like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? So that we can begin to carve out context. And then I can ask you, what do you mean by that? And depending on how you answer it, if it's like, okay, so then I'll be able to know, okay, so you're saying everything negative is black.
True.
And then we can begin to sort it out from there. So it's definitely going to have to depend on context. I'm gonna go ahead and shut up and for a while and let you wrap the info.
Brother Info Man, you want to take a stab at this, man? What is acting black and acting white, man?
Well, I think you have to first define culture. All you got to do is look at children. When you're born into the world, you don't have any inundation on what is white or what is black. When you see children play in the playground, they're just playing, they're just talking, they're just running around. And no one says when they see little kids running around and playing in nursery school, kids, little infants, no one says, hey, that infant is acting black. Or that little infant or that little toddler, for example, that toddler is acting white or black. It's not until you get older and you begin to be socially poisoned by the society. Now you grow up and you find out right away that's white, this is black, And then when you go to school and you just talk in your regular diction, and if your diction doesn't come off as what we call, speaking in Ebonics, then you're not seen as, or that's not seen as black. The problem I have is that we have been culturally conditioned in this society, socially, politically, pop culture has taught us that anything that is black must be associated with something negative, right? Good cowboys wear what? Good cowboys wear white. The good guys wear white. The bad guys wear black, right? Everything. If you're black, stick. If you're light, stick around. If you're brown, you're okay. If you're black, get back. So we've been throughout our culture. We have been conditioned to see black as negative, and to see ourselves as negative, and to associate that which is black culture with something negative. Because of pop culture and the fact that black people have been given the avenues of entertainment, dancing, and sports, we begin to associate ourselves with dancing and sports. So oftentimes black people will be very proud and say, hey, we created rap music, we created that. That's fine and dandy. But what's happening is that we're allowing ourselves to be associated with anything that's related to pop culture. White people, if your cultural norm as you grow up is that you go to college, you go to school, you grow up to be captain of industry, that's norm to you. The problem for us as black people is that we've been so inundated that the norm for us is that it has to be something grungy, something on the negative side. And we watch movies and we go see movies that reinforce our negative narrative that we have of ourselves. You see it on YouTube. We get on panels, we get into bickering, and then I know when I've been on Nyla's panel, she says that some of the arguing that we do to a certain degree is okay because that's how we as a people will get to conclusions. Sometimes arguments happen. And on that sister's panel, we have said that, but this is the problem. We have to be careful that we don't get comfortable and used to a culture in which the only way we can work out our problems is because we yelled and screamed at each other. And if we become used to that, that's normal or that's okay for us because that's how we get to conclusions and coming together as a people. Why is that okay for us as black people, but for other people, it's not okay? In some cultures, it's not okay to raise your voice. In some other cultures, it's not okay to walk outside and wear your clothes a certain way, have your pants below your ass like you got a bowel movement. All right. We associate that with being black. And then when we look at white people who try to talk with a slang and wear certain clothes, this shows you how culturally conditioned we are. We associate white people with who project a negative image of us as black people as being black. That shows you how the pathology has got us so twisted, brothers, so turned around, so fried, so laid down to the side that we associate even people that pretend to be us, we associate that as being black. My question is, when we look at black culture, is black culture a manifestation of pop culture? So is pop culture black culture? Because to me, I don't think we have ever really been able to establish, is pop culture black culture? Because me personally, I don't see pop culture, whether it be rap and all of that. I see that as an extension, of our creative culture, whether it be rap, dance, and all of that. But is it truly our culture in terms of who we really are as a people? Because how do we know who we really are as a people when we've never been allowed to be the people that we really are truly to be, when since we've been in this country, we've always been inundated with stereotypes, we've been segregated, and then we've been pushed and steered to excel in certain avenues of society, such as the entertainment. So ask yourself, if black people were steered towards the sciences, the educational aspects. What type of culture would we have today if that was our norms from the time we were in this country? If we were only steered towards those areas, and let's say Asian people or white people were only steered towards entertainment, then what would we have today? You would have other ethnic groups where that would be their avenue of success, while black people, our avenue of success would be business, captains of industry. I said it before, white men in this country train their sons to own the goddamn basketball team and football team, not to be a player. While we spend a lot of time with our kids on playgrounds saying, I hope that he gets a scholarship. I hope that he gets mama out of the hood because he's going to get that scholarship. We spend too much time preaching hope to our kids as part of this pop culture that we're a part, instead of preaching, get that education, become a businessman. We preaching hope. I hope you get that scholarship. I hope, yeah, I want you to live that dream and be a football or basketball player. So these are the sort of things through generations that has generated this culture, this mindset to us that that's what it is to be black. You got to be an athlete. You got to be a singer. You got to be a dancer. You got to be wearing your pants below your ass. You got to be rapping. You got to be doing this. And then what happens, and I'm getting on this, man, you grow up in a community where you don't fit that cultural norm because your family says, no, that's not what you are, young black male. And then you will have the Pookies and the Ray Rays, or you have people in your community that will make fun of you. See, we never talk about this, brother. We never talk about why some of us brothers who have had the privilege of education and the privilege of being able to change our narrative, why we have this ripple between us and the Pookies and Ray Rays. We forget the Pookies and Ray Rays made fun of us. The Pookies and Ray Rays were the ones that said, ha, 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 you got 4 eyes, you got glasses. Ha, 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 why you carrying them books? The Pookies and Ray Rays were making fun of us. Now we grow up and we become the success story, and then we do the same thing that Pookie and Ray Ray did to us. We make fun of them. So it becomes a vicious cycle in this so-called black culture. We got a lot of problems in this area, brothers. I rest on that.
Well, I agree. I mean, oftentimes, and you and I, we've discussed this before, Brother Info, where, you know, a child who, because let us be clear, there's a lot of young black people who are very, very gifted, very, very smart. You know, there are black people who are into school and into their education. They're advanced. You know, they read at a greater level than the other black folks in their vicinity. They do math better. They're more into school. They're more astute. They learn quicker, you know. And what happens is these kids find themselves being noticed by the quote unquote scholastic academia, if you will, and they find themselves in positions that other black children are not in. You know, like down here, they have, you know, schools for the gifted. And, you know, you have these children black children who go off to these schools. Now, mind you, most of those children in those schools are not black. Most of those children in those schools are white and Asian. Okay, they're white and they're Asian. So when you see gifted black children excelling scholastically, oftentimes what happens is other children treat them a certain way, make fun of them, like you said, because they see these. I think it has a lot to do with the rearing of the children. I think that children have been reared and taught that if you're a person who's about schooling, education, proper vocabulary, proper diction, proper vernacular, wear your clothes a certain way, you are being groomed to think that that is white folks. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Let me give you a personal example, and I won't be long with this. I'm gonna get right to the point. When I was a kid, I was a dude threat, brother. I was into poetry. I was into playing. I was an athlete. I played basketball. I ran track. But check this out. When I would go through my neighborhood, or get on the bus to go to school, if I had a basketball in my hand, that was cool. Oh, man. And black people will do this. Black folks will do this to you. Reinforce that pop culture. Man, that's cool. Man, yeah. Right? So you get praised. You walk around with a basketball in your hand. You get praised when you're on the athletic field. But I used to have to carry my I'm classically trained in violin. I played the violin since I was 10 years old. My mom plays. I have music in my blood, in my family. When I would go to school.
Wait a damn minute. Hold up. You're classically trained in violin and you never got up here and played us a tune, brother. What kind of crap is that?
I'm not going to do it. Let me just make this point though, brother. I'm gonna make it short. So basically, what I'm basically saying is I had to carry this goofy little violin case when I would go to school. And I gotta be honest, when I would carry the case, I would get made fun of with what's in that case? Oh, you playing a violin? Or if I was reading poetry or writing poetry, I would get made fun of for poetry or carrying that case. This shows you how far the self-hate and the pathology goes. There were times, brother, when I hated to go to school with that case. I would feel more comfortable with a basketball in my hand because you wouldn't get made fun for that. But when I had that violin case, I felt very uncomfortable at times because I knew in my neighborhood I was going to get made fun of. That's how deep this thing goes. And that we associate a basketball in a young man's hand as that's black culture. But if a young man has a book or a violin or some other kind of instrument in their hand that's different from the sports, that's goofy. That's nerdy. This is what I experienced. Had to give you that anecdotal experience.
Well, let me ask you this before we go to Brother Gab talk. When you were being made fun of by folks because you played the violin, you had to carry the case and all of that, what did that make you think about your people? What did that make you think as a young guy? How did that make you see your people? Because you were a violinist, so obviously you were into the violin. So when people made fun of you carrying that violin, how did that make you see your folks, your people, your peers that were around you? What did you think of them?
To be honest, I felt that damn black people, my people, we're not that cultured. We kind of want to stay in one little level of music. I mean, in my household, my mother, my family, I was exposed to all different types of music. But if you break outside that box of certain music, then that's seen as, oh, that's white people music. But a lot of people don't even know that some of the best violinists were black people. A lot of people don't know that the history of violin comes with the black man, the fiddler, which was on the plantation. That's an instrument that has been a part of our culture as black people in American society way before where we've gotten to now. So because of that lack of education, I will be made fun of because so I felt that, damn, our people are just not as cultured as we should be. And I'll be honest with you, there are times today when I feel that our people are not always as cultured as we should be. We should be exposed to everything: music, art, poetry. We should be well-rounded. And Brother Gav, having his experience in the Nation of Islam, I think that he would agree with me because the Nation of Islam preaches this type of stuff, being well-rounded as a man, as a woman, as a human. Would you agree with me, Gav?
Oh, yes, sir. Absolutely. To wrap this whole talk up, it's the duty of every individual to seek the best in society. And that carries with it self-determination. And when you have self-determination, you become your own person. So, and you like what you like. You're not limited because you're black that you have to like hip hop. That's a superficial construct. Once again, I don't have to like R&B or only listen to R&B. I can listen to classical. I can listen to rock, pop, whatever I want to listen to. I can like the colors I want to like. Some things are going to fit well within the traditional scheme of things. Some things not so well. But we have to understand that, and we do understand on this line, that the cultural conditioning is real. It's a reality. So therefore, depending on who I'm speaking with on the radio or on YouTube, I will speak to the best of my ability the language that makes you comfortable without going too far. So there's some things that I'm not going to do. There's some ways that I'm not going to refer to women because I don't think that's the best way to refer. So, but I'm not going to necessarily try to stop you because, that's the way that you chose to express yourself. So if the brothers want to wear saggy pants and they done made a fashion out of it for themselves, they done carved the niche out for themselves and made it into hip hop or made hip hop look how they want hip hop to look, then I'm okay with it. But what I will tell you is that if you're trying to be successful in a particular area, then that outfit might not be the best for this right here. And so if you want to say, oh boy, you starting to sound like a white boy, then I'm okay. Well, you just try it. And if it gets you there, hey, I learned something new. In fact, you broke through for us, and maybe we don't have to be as strict. But these are learning curves. These are things that we have to learn. But we are not to be limited by artificial constructs. We are to study what's going on, what works, and apply what you learn to make it work for yourself. And I don't care what it is. So again, I can like whatever I want to like. And we got to start to teach our children to be that way so that we can shift this culture. Duly noted that there's already some very powerful superficial constructs laid out for blacks, whites, Latino, all of us falling into what it is to be Latino, what it is to be white. I'm looking at things as you're either being productive and progressive or you're not. And you can put a color on that shit if you want to. There's a way to go about doing certain things until you can prove you can do it in other ways. Once you carve that out, then we say okay, that's no longer what we thought was white. It's just no longer that. So, but I'm already there. There's progressive and there's not progressive. There's being productive. There's being unproductive. So that's the way I look at things.
Well, let me ask you brothers this. Now, we talked about earlier how, whatever's progressive, whatever better, whatever is more, if you will, is considered to be white. So I know this is going to be controversial, and I know people are going to get mad at me, but of course I don't care. Do you think that maybe we should be taking some of the stuff that we consider to be quote unquote white and be integrating it into the young ones, give them the mind state of education, business, entrepreneurship, whatever people consider white. Should we be introducing that to our children, the quote unquote white standard of living and child rearing? Should we be introducing that?
I think we should disassociate things that are considered successful with white people all together. That's what I was just saying. Like, success does not belong to a particular race. Productive behaviors do not belong to a particular race. They may have been practicing it and promoting themselves as the standard for what success is. But successful behavior is successful behavior. You know what I'm saying? You read the book by Stephen Covey, was it 7 Habits of Highly Successful People? These are habits that don't belong to white people. These are habits that help people be successful no matter what the color is. Now, when you go out into the world, you will find where actual social constructs exist where it will try and block you because of color and things like that. You'll find ignorance out there as you begin to try to use these habits. But by and large, those habits that are in that book are going to help the average person that wasn't practicing those habits be more successful. It does not belong to them. So when you teach your children, I'm suggesting when we start doing things that help us be successful, to ignore that superficial BS talking about what is acting white and what's acting black. Because if practicing these 7 habits, or if you read the book Think and Grow Rich, some of the principles that come from that book, Rich Dad Poor, there's some stuff out there that, okay, black folks didn't write it because we haven't been the controllers of all literature in this dispensation of time. So if we start to use still these principles, which is predated, they just wrote about it. This stuff has been done before. Teaching people to be consistent has already been done. People being focused and practicing to being focused has already been done, pre-exists white people. So we need to make sure that we're teaching our children away from, training them away from associating successful behaviors with white and negative behaviors with black as a healing property. I hope I answered your question.
Well, how do we start this? I mean, because I'm all for, disassociating, success and having a decent life and being about education and forward moving and forward thinking and critical thinking, all that kind of stuff with white folks. But how do we start? How do we break our people? How do we break us from thinking that only white people can do these particular things? Only white people can get a good education. Only white people can get a corporate job. Only white people can speak the King's English, and so on and so forth. How do we stop us from thinking that way? How do we stop it?
Oh, okay. I think what we're doing, I've been saying this on YouTube lately. All of this begins with education and re-educating our people, and then institutionalizing the teaching. Meaning that here's where I think we're making our mistake in the black community. When we say we're going to change something, we have to consider the amount of time that it takes to actually establish change and understand the amount of challenges that are going to come because everybody's already, mind fucked into believing these superficial constructs. They see them as they actually exist. So as we become more conscious, Brother Prophet, you, Brother Info, as we understand, hey, this stuff is superficial. The reason we know that is because there were Marcus Garveys, there were Malcolm X's, there were Noble Drew Ali's and Elijah Muhammad's to make us understand, hey, that shit don't belong to them. Success don't belong to them. So we began to speak differently. So there are you, me, Info, and a whole bunch of other people on YouTube that understand exactly what it is that you're trying to establish. So this is the process we're beginning to shed away, but we have to understand it won't be in this generation where we're going to be successful. we're opening the door for that now because we're not afraid to say the shit no more. Remember, maybe I bet you could think back. I don't know how old you are. I'm 50. I can think back 35 years where I would be scared to admit shit like this, or might have even known this. I would call the shit white too just because I knew that was a popular narrative. It made me feel good to call somebody or tell somebody they was acting like a cracker. You know, it made me feel good. But because information had been dropped by some of our leadership, I began nursing on that now. And I think what I see now is more of us beginning to nurse that kind of information. And so with these new tools, YouTube and all this social media, it's not going to take as long, but we have an opportunity here to concrete this in to our culture. I think we can make this concrete using these tools because you and I, this is not the first time I heard this conversation.
Yeah, well, I've had this conversation with brothers, you know, off of YouTube. Um, some of the most constructive conversations I've had have been off of YouTube. And what I do is when I come up with topics, it's usually things that I've discussed with other people, you know, outside of YouTube. I mean, I get some topics from just like kind of scanning and trolling and everything else, but you know, I try to assimilate whatever I do in real life. I try to bring that onto YouTube. You know, because I try to be as authentic on here as I possibly can. Um, a lot of the things that I talk about when I'm not on here, I talk about on here, you know. And I've spoken about this with people outside of YouTube. And what I've heard more than anything else is that we as black folks, we have been trained or assimilated into white culture. Therefore, most of our culture, we may call it black. I mean, I've had a brother tell me this, that we call it black, but really it's a culture that white folks have put upon us. You know, it's not really a black culture that we invented. You know, other stuff outside of this, I guess, mainstream black folk culture is it's it's something that we have assimilated to due to white folks. Okay. Because I've said this often too, because I was asked this one night on I was on O'Shea's one night, and I said pretty much the same thing that I just said. And he said, well, if we are if we have assimilated and we're mimicking parts of white culture, why are we not mimicking the finances, the economics, the way of life, the success? I said, because oftentimes what happens is, as black people, we find ourselves mimicking the lower tier of white folks. Because I said, you know, you look at the ghettos and you see the crime and you see the drugs and the killing and single mama homes, unwed mother homes, and illegitimate children. I said, if you go to like those trailer parks, you see the same stuff. You see the baby mamas, you see the killing, you see the drugs, you see the crime, you see the same thing. So in essence, we are mimicking white folks. It's just that we're mimicking. A lot of us have a tendency to mimic the lower tier of white folks, and not the, you know, the upper echelon or the elite white folks, if you will. A lot of us aren't mimicking that, but a lot of us are mimicking some of those lower tier white folks, because like I said, the same stuff you see in the hood, you will see the identical stuff in the trailer park. So I say that to say this, because when you talk about acting white and acting black, like you say, brother Gab Talk, I don't think any of those things um are indicative of either one. I mean, you're either someone who is about your business and productive, or you're a person that's not about your business and you're not productive. I mean, that's pretty much, that's the line I draw. Okay. And I'm a person, the business that I run, because I'm a power mechanic, right? And 65% of my business is white people. So I deal with white people practically every day because those are the people who come in and out of my shop. I deal with white people practically every day. I don't go too many days and I don't have a white person walking into my shop, right? Now, how those white people see me, I don't know, but I would assume they see me as a man who runs his own business, skilled at his craft, right? Skilled at his craft, able to hire others, okay? Hire other black folks. So if you were to ask that particular white person about what black looks like, he would be able to tell you that black looks like me because he deals with me once a week, twice a week. You know what I'm saying? He'd be able to say that. He probably wouldn't necessarily say, black person talking slang, using ebonics, pants hanging off his ass, so on and so forth. He really wouldn't be able to say that, especially if I'm the only black person that he's dealing with. Now, if he's dealing with other black people, that's different. But if I'm the only black person he's dealing with, and he's dealing with other black people like me, he would think, then again, let me back up on that. Because what happens oftentimes, I know white people have a tendency to say, this is one of the good ones. They have that
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is one of the good ones. He has a business, and all that kind of stuff. He's not out shooting folks in the head, or selling crack. So they could say that too. But I would like to think that if you was to ask some of my customers, because like I said, I mean, like 2/3 of my business is white people, because these are the people who own businesses. I mean, I work for people who own companies because I work on, power equipment. I work on skid steers, bulldozers, commercial lawn equipment. So the people I work for own businesses. So most of the people here that own businesses are white. So I would like to think that if they were to put a particular label on black people, I would hope they would make that label similar to brothers like me who are actually, trying to strive more, do more, and leave something for their descendants, as opposed to, letting their thoughts about black people be, people who are killers and robbers and dope heads and dope addicts and all that kind of crap. Let me go to Brother Info Man. Oh, I gotta send my man the link too. Hold on, I got you, brother. Let me go to Info Man, because I cannot believe this brother is a classic violinist and he jumped up on here and played us a tune. I'm kind of hurt about that right there. But because I like the violin. I like classical music, man. I listen to Chopin, I listen to Bach. I've always been a big Chopin fan, man. So you're gonna have to get up here one day, man, and play me a classical joint up in here at some point. But I'll ask you the same thing, brother Info Man. What if black people, us as black folks, what if we started integrating, more success building traits into our children? What if we started to introduce, things like you being able to play the violin, being able to play an instrument, being an artist and all that kind of stuff? What do you think holds us back from integrating these things into our children on a bigger scale? Because I know some of us do, because like my daughter plays the piano and stuff like that. But a lot of us don't. I mean, we just have to be honest. A lot of us don't. So what do you think holds us back from that kind of stuff? What do you think it is? Is that our culture as black people to just, not be into that? We all rappers, basketball players, football players, singers, dancers, entertainers. Are we all living that dream?
I think we need to I think we need to recognize our history as a people. At one point in time, it was commonplace for a black man to go outside the door and have a suit on, suit and tie, to dress a certain way. Fashion and image has always been synonymous with black people. It was a time if you went out. I mean, that was when I was growing up. I would get in a lot of trouble in my neighborhood if I walked out there with my pants down. I understand where Brother Gav is saying that you understand where people are, where they are, and where they're at, and that's a part of their fad. We all went through a fad growing up, but I just know that I don't think that a lot of the stuff that we're talking about is foreign to black culture. I think we've gotten away from emphasizing that which has always been a part of our culture, which is dressing well, being involved in poetry, being a great orator. I look up to a great frat brother of mine, Paul Robeson. Paul Robeson did it all. He was an actor. He was a great orator. He was an activist into poetry, and he was an athlete. He did it all. I think that we have young black males and females that are out here doing these dynamic types of things. I know because I've seen them. I know because I've been involved in scholarship programs through my organization to get them into school. They're out here. The problem is we don't promote it enough. What we promote is a Tashi 6ix9ine. What we promote is the Kanye West. We promote all these people that are in pop culture as a standard of black culture. And then we wonder why our kids grow up and think that that is the standard of black culture, when in fact, the standard of black culture to me are the kids that are growing up out here that are doing some of the things that I just mentioned. I think that it's not a matter of teaching our kids that because that's saying, well, let's teach them the best of being white. I think we need to teach our kids the best of what's being black. And historically, black people have always been more on the conservative side. Historically, black people have always been one to do what? Be Renaissance, dabble in all many different things. I mean, remember, we had the Harlem Renaissance. What was that about? Poetry, art, music, and education. So I think it's already in us. We just have to emphasize that. We have to emphasize the best of who we are already. And we have to emphasize, and I know Brother Kevin Samuels would appreciate this, we have to emphasize our image better. We have to take control of our image. And as we as black men, if we are in control of our image, then we can translate that to our families and to our children and say, this is the standard. So I just think it's about standards. If my standard is that in this household, you're going to be introduced to all different facets of life, music, art, education, everything, science, whatever, biology. If that is the standard, we make that as a standard, then that ain't being white. That's just having a standard. I think we've just, for whatever reason, the more we've gotten integrated into this society and the more that American society has emphasized and has monetarized black entertainment as that's the way you make money. A lot of our kids grow up and they think that's the only way they can be successful. And then we in turn reinforce that reality because we spend so much time with our kids on the playground, letting them run up and down a field, hoping they get a scholarship. If we spent the same amount of time with our kids academically as we do with them on the athletic field, we'll knock out all phases of everything: athletics, education, what have you. So I've said this before, brother. I just think that we need to have a standard of discriminating for the best of what we want in our community. So if we want our kids to be very Renaissance in terms of what they're exposed to, we have to demand the best out of our kids and show them another alternative to what it is to be Black and successful and Black culture. And I'll give you a case in point now in this. In the Sacramento area where I'm at, we have a program called the Alpha Project, where and I'm pretty sure Kevin Samuels has some kind of program like that in his organization, where we mentor, we have an academy, we get kids out of their environments, we let them see a Black men that are doing certain different things outside of what they're used to seeing. Do you know that when it has such an impact on young Black males in particular, when they're able to see a brother that is a Black doctor, a Black businessman, someone that's different than what they're normally seeing out of just the sports and entertainment world? Do you know how much of an impact that has on young people to see that they can see a different narrative of what it is to be Black and what it is to have Black culture? That is what we have to do, period. Control our image, control the perception of who we are. And by controlling that image, we control our culture and we translate a different standard. I'll rest on that, brothers.
Yeah, and then it wouldn't matter what other people thought Black was. It wouldn't matter. It just wouldn't matter. We've been joined by Brother Art. What's good, Brother Art?
What's going on, brothers? What's going on with y'all?
What's going on? Good to hear you, Art.
I know you a successful brother. So have you been accused of quote unquote acting white or being white?
Yeah, like I did serve some I did some of my time in the NOI, and one of the things that we were taught was to be articulate in the language that you are dwelling in. And plus, it even stressed how you dressed. And this is one of the blackest organizations ever. You got Junior FOI, I mean, all that, man's class. So the whole thing is that, I would dare someone to go up to Malcolm if he was around and told him, since he's talking so articulate, you're acting white. And this dude wearing suits, clean shaved, or whatever it is, but just the way that he spoke put fear in a lot of white people. But at the same time, I had a lot of white folks come up to me. I heard you guys talking about that, where they were saying, you're not like the rest of them. You're different. You're different from the rest of them. That kind of thing. And I just say, okay, but overall, I use that to my advantage, because you got to be articulate. I mean, we're in a war zone. You got to speak with strategy.
All right, let me say something real quick. I find it interesting that the only time, and I'm generalizing here, of course, I find it interesting that the only time that some Black people will accept a Black man or a woman, or a Black man in this case, talking in good English, saying words very intelligently, is when it's someone of a Malcolm X, someone of a Dr. King, someone that's protesting some kind of struggle. It seems like when brothers are protesting struggle and we're doing something kind of revolutionary and we use good language, we can accept that. We can get with that. But if a brother ain't yelling and screaming and talking about, talking in a revolutionary type of tone, but he just talks in good language and he, carries himself a certain way, he wears a suit and tie, everybody makes fun of him. But if you're a Malcolm X or a Farrakhan or some Black leader who wears a suit, keeps the shoes shined, and you talk with a big stick and you make language sound really good and clear, nobody's got a problem with you acting white when you're talking in revolutionary terms using the good diction. Now that, to me, I find very interesting, because because you're not making fun of that person for using good diction when they're talking revolution, but you make fun of the other. You make fun of the brother who talks in good diction, who just goes to school. It looks like you.
I can speak on that a little bit, because we have that stereotype of Carlton from Fresh Prince, right? He said his idol was Brian Gumble or something. But you know, you put him next to a Malik Zulu Shabazz that has a law degree that speaks pretty eloquent as well, but a little bit of fire. And then you have the black community. Who would you feel safe behind? The, you know, Malik Zulu Shabazz, or you feel safe under the whole Carlton character? And the whole thing is that sometimes it's not just you talking white, it's sometimes you're repeating the talking points of the oppressor. So sometimes I put a little mustard and ketchup on the hot dog to make it more interesting. So, I mean, I would probably see someone saying that. I have been, I teach, and I teach in inner city, and every now and then you do have people that sound a little hood, and you got some people that sound like they're very, very eloquent, you know, and I value all of it, you know, but I always tell them straight up, when you out there in that war zone, you better be prepared, because just because you comfortable around us and you get to kick your feet up or whatever, you can't go on a job interview for flip-flops. You know, you gotta make sure. Put it this way: we call it suited and booted, right? Yeah, but we call it that to where it's considered a uniform. You know, if you're wearing a suit, it's a uniform. You ain't gonna wear no suit around the house, eat macaroni, eating some barbecue. You're gonna take, you know. So you shouldn't be looking like you at home trying to make some money outside and get mad nobody's gonna hire you. I mean, this is a war zone here. You're behind enemy lines. You know, until you get in a situation where you can control your outcome and the things you want, then you be able to do all that you can do. But whatever is considered a uniform, you wear that, you iron it, you do whatever, you make that money, and you build your chips until you come up with your own empire. You know, that's how I would approach it. I ain't gonna take all your time though.
Can I read something? Prophet of thought, brother Kevin Samuels made a good point in the chat room. He says, Brother Kevin Samuels said, I was told I promote acting white and talking white. However, no one who says that shit can argue my outcomes, date, and results. So, Brother Kevin Samuels, we all know what his channel is about, image, being your best self, being confident, assertive, intelligent. The brother has a great channel. He's saying that people say to him that he's promoting being white. So when he's on his channel, I check him out talking about our image, about how we carry ourselves and our confidence. He's being told by people that you're teaching black men how to think or act white. See, that's what I'm talking about, brothers. That's a perfect example of what he just wrote in there of what is the problem.
Yeah, well, anyone who watches Brother Samuel's channel and says he's promoting whiteness is just absurd. What he's what he's promoting is you being a better you, and it has nothing to do with being white. I mean, if you watch Kevin Samuel's channel, I mean, everybody here probably watches Brother Samuel's. I mean, Kevin Samuel, let me tell you something, man. I've listened to Kevin Samuel's, and I went out and bought better ties, better shirts, better belts, better colognes. So if that's me being white because I listen to Kevin Samuels, I guess I'm just being white. All right, I'm just being white then, because I listen to the brother and I take his advice. So
golly gee. By golly gee.
Yeah, by golly gee. Well, let me ask you brothers this. Now, we live in a time where, everybody is aware of, the white power structure, and we're all aware of, the talks of white supremacy and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we live in the age of media, so all of us know this. That being said, as we become more, I guess, knowledgeable about these things, and as we become more suited to deal with this stuff, do you think that the perception of whiteness has changed? And what I mean is the perception of whiteness, because we talked earlier about how we think success and culture and being well-rounded, we think all that's white. Do you think that has changed? Do we perceive whiteness different now? Do we perceive whiteness as being, like cavemen now? Not so much as being a successful person, but do we perceive whiteness as different now? Go ahead, Brother Samuels.
Hey guys, one thing I would say is, shout out to all the brothers on the panel, is I've entered.
Shout out
Peace,
to you, brother.
peace.
Peace to you.
Thanks. When I was a young man, I was told a lot of the same things that, white was right, white was better. But as I've actually grew up, strapped on my gloves and went out there and fought him myself and beat him at his own game, it's demystified whiteness to me. Let me tell you something. When a black man is the best version of himself, it's not even a goddamn competition. It's like FloJo running against the rest of the people back in the 80s. They knew they were running for second place when it started. And see, that's the fear. He who controls the media controls the mind. If they can keep enough black men from not competing, they don't ever have to worry about when we are stepping on the court. But you name me one area where black men have entered in mass and competed, and show me where we've lost. The military, Red Tails, Tuskegee Airmen, anybody? Sports, NFL, NBA. Everywhere we go, we dominate when we decide to engage. So in this Prussian school system, the best thing that they can do is get us to quit before we even get in the game. As someone who's come from corporate America, little old country boy from Oklahoma, when I went and competed against my counterparts in, business to business sales, they have no standing because we grew up in a way that made us damn near Spartan-like in our attitudes. So when we get to a position to where, you mean these roads actually work, the lights actually come on, and all I got to do is what? Do the job? I ain't got to do the job while I'm rebuilding shit along the way. I just gotta, oh man, please. They fear that. I've heard them say, I've had men tell me, I fear black men on these levels because look, when we were at the back of the bus and segregated, they could at least live in an idyllic situation to where they could treat us as different. But when they got to look you face to face across the boardroom or across the field, their inadequacies come to the table. So we see so many young black men today who have been given an opportunity that's even surpasses what me, Information Man, Prophet of Thought have been given. And on my channels, I strongly push them to pick up the baton and engage the race because and it is yet to not happen. When a guy actually engages, they realize, what life is this? This is what's available. Yeah, this is what's available when you just get up and compete. So no, I don't think, and then we talk about me promoting white standard of dressing and communicating. No, I promote a black standard of excellence. When I look back across the pages of history, when I look back at the Howard Universities, the Morehouses, when I look back at any of the HBCUs, I see Alpha men, I see Kappa men, I see Omega men, I see Sigma men, but I also see the guys who didn't pledge those fraternities, but I see the way they carried themselves across those campuses. They went to school with a purpose because they were the 1 out of 8 that had a chance. They went to school to get something, to do something, to be something, to bring it back. There was a mission that was bigger than just filling up their pocket, which is important. Make no mistake, I want to be fucking rich. No problem with it. I am a capitalist. But I also realize at the end of the day, I like a 2-piece and a biscuit, fried catfish, hot wings and shit just like you. At the end of the day, we all we got. So black men, yeah, it's not a standard of white anything. It's a standard of black excellence. White is not better. White, actually, they know. And if only thing is, if half of us knew what they do, this world would look a lot different.
I agree.
That was powerful.
I agree. Go ahead, brother Gab. Talk.
That was powerful. Brother Captain, I just subbed to you, bro. I'm gonna be checking you out. And he wrapped it up in a nutshell when he said to me, what stood out was when he said, when a person is the highest version of themselves, there's no competition. And I think of all the things I was trying to say, that capsulizes it. Is the competition is you against yourself to become the better version, the highest, to operate at your highest and best use as an individual. And there are activities that you are going to engage in to get there. And you'll recognize that people have slapped superficial labels on them. And our duty is to recognize, bullshit from reality, and to continue on that plight to our destiny, and then to lay that groundwork for those who come behind us to follow. And the work right now, like I'm telling you, for me, the future is clear for Black people. To me, it's not bleak to me like it is for a lot of us that's feeling like everything is so in despair and like we so lost. I think the groundwork is being laid every single day, and YouTube is making it more and more clear to me that that's what's going on. And I'm a rest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what often happens, I think that, because we're all familiar, man, with the white power structure. I mean, that's nothing new. But I think oftentimes what happens with us, man, as a people, is we give white folks too much damn credit. I mean, we give them too much credit over us, man. We give them too much credit. And when we give them that much credit, man, we have a tendency, man, to give them more power. That's what bothers me, when we give the white man so much credit. Like, this is white, this is white, this is white. None of that is white, man. It's for you. If you want it, it's for you. Okay, it's not for the white man, it's not for the white people, it's for you. It's for your people if you want it. That's my thing. I mean, and I just think oftentimes what happens, man, is we give the white power structure and white supremacy and white people too much credit when it comes to Black society. I just think we do. I mean,
Well,
go ahead, brother Art. Go ahead.
No, this info. I was just going to make the statement that Black excellence, that should be the norm for our people. Black excellence. Mm-hmm. Anything outside of that is bullshit, in my opinion. We should be striving for Black excellence. Right. So the question is, that isn't white. That is what it is. Excellence. Striving to be the best that we can be.
What is your
that is what
motto?
We should be. First of all, servants of all, we shall transcend all.
And ours is achievement in all fields of human endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
Those singular words have motivated hundreds of thousands of Black men for over a century. They're simple, they're short, they're concise, but they demand.
Friendship is essential to the soul.
There you go.
It is high five.
Yep. And see, here's the thing. On my channel, I talk about it, but you know what? What I also do, and I don't talk about it a lot, is when I'm out and about in the community, I will actually take young men and put the clothes on them themselves, walk around, put some cologne on them, because I know the impact of an image. I mage wizardry. What is a wizard? Deals with illusion, deals with magic, potions, spells. Well, what is a fragrance if it's not a potion? What is your image if not an illusion? It's a perception. You can manipulate it to get the result you want. I don't care what show you watch, Dungeons and Dragons, Game of Thrones, whatever mythological, whatever, the most powerful of all the people in any party is a wizard. He's a learned man. He's sage. He's not the warrior. I am not the warrior. There are other people who carry the axe, the bow, the arrow. I do my work in the arcane arts, but to bring down the dragon, to bring down the biggest threat you will face, the warrior can't do it. You need Gandalf. You need the wizard, the eye mage, your image. And oftentimes people don't realize what they're capable of doing until the wizard comes along and actually shows them the best version of themselves. They see it, and all the words in the world cannot overcome what they see in themselves in the mirror. And once their mind is stretched to a new idea, it never regains its original dimensions. I don't care what situation you're in. Born of a bastard crackhead baby mama, heroin addict father, eating sardines, evicted 55,000 times. Let me straighten you up and let you look at yourself for the first time through new eyes. And it's going to be hard to go back to them old streets.
Yep. That's what I believe blackness should be defined as, man. Blackness should be defined as people who can do anything, survive anything, achieve anything. I mean, that's what I think when I think about black folks, because black folks have been through so much, and somehow we still here. So, I mean, my definition of what a black person is a person who can persevere through all kinds of stuff. It has nothing to do with those, superficial constructs that brother Gab talks about. It has nothing to do with that, man. I don't think it has anything to do with that. A black person is a person, man, who can do anything that they want to do. Whatever that anything is, they can do it and be really successful at it. That's my definition.
Let me say one thing, brothers, before I got to run.
Okay.
Notice how black men, when we greet each other, Brother Gab Talk, you probably never watched my video, but if you probably just ran across my stuff on YouTube, it's probably easy to dismiss it. Who is this corny ass nigga in the suit? What's this dude? I've had many brothers come and say, you know what? When I first saw your picture, you didn't look like a dude I could relate to, but I happened to catch a live stream and see you on a panel and you said something that made me say, really? Black men have a way of communicating. When you see a brother you don't know, what do? We get a heads up. It doesn't matter if you're within a feet, 2 feet, or 50 feet. You see another black man, we get a heads up. In that heads up is not only an acknowledgement of another brother from another mother, another black man, one of, we're not the majority. But when we give each other a heads up, it's also an acknowledgement and secret communication that we know that, like Brother X said, we've had to do all this stuff with one hand tied behind our back, running uphill on ice skates. And we're still here. There's a certain amount of confidence that goes along with saying, you took us from our home, you stripped us of our language, our culture, our God, you put us in chattel slavery, took our everything. You've done your best. There is nothing quite like what we have been through, and we are still here. Understand that. That's why when Brother Gab said, I'm not as doom and gloom, I damn sure am not. Because look at what we're doing right now. And 30 years ago, it would have cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to get these men on one airwave to talk to a handful of people. To have not a handful of people, to talk to this many. For us to be able to communicate like this and have it go worldwide, we have understand something, gentlemen. YouTube is not a goddamn game. It is the most expensive, it's the most valuable media platform in the world. It's worth more than Comcast. It's worth more than the entire Disney Corporation. It's worth more than Netflix. If it was standalone, it'd be $162 billion. The smartphone has given the average everyday Black man the ability to be his own media station. We are collectively and individually changing the Black image one person at a time. And I say it again, he who controls the media controls the mind. Any war begins first with propaganda. They can talk about Hitler all they want to. He was only possible because of Goebbels. We are the Black male media. We are the vanguard. We are the tip of the spear. But is this underground insurgency, grassroots kind of thing going on right now that is infecting this world, this worldwide matrix where Black men in every corner of this planet can tune in to something that's familiar. They hear that bass in the voice. They hear one brother saying one thing, another brother saying something, and they realize that's like me. And slowly but surely, it what it does is it has a therapeutic effect on the Black man's soul and the Black man's psyche, to where when he walks out into the world, what he sees when he sees another Black man is somebody who is more of a brother. So when we see each other and give us that heads up, that's an acknowledgement to that man and to another man, we're still here. We still here, we ain't going nowhere, and we do have the ability to not only shape, but reshape our destiny. Our Black community, you know what? I'm a red pill Black man, but that means men. Everything that's going to start is going to start with the men first. And so many of us, just like myself, did not have a father, but they had that father hunger. They're searching for someone, men out there, to just give them a life raft. Black men, Black people are good survivalists. I am ready to take us from surviving to thriving. And that is a new experience for many of us. Every time we started thriving in the past, they burned it down. Rosewood, Black Wall Street. They can't burn this down because it's decentralized. They can't burn us all out. So it's incumbent upon us to continue to do these kind of things, work together as we can. If you notice me, I am never involved in a beef. Pookie and Ray Ray ain't my enemy, and neither is Carlton. I work with any Black man possible because at the end of the day, we all we got. And that unifying theme is the reason why back in college I could sit back and chant against and have frat rivalries with the alphas and the omegas and the sigmas and the iotas on the yard. But when we went out onto that white campus, we were unified in the Panhellenic. Well, because when I went and interviewed somebody for a job, I stuck my people's resume to the top because I was in a place of power and I could. That's where it's incumbent upon each Black man, where you can do something, because your ability to reach across, reach over, reach through to one Black man, it can change generations. And even what we're doing right now is changing lives. Thanks for inviting me over, Brother Prophet of Thought. I got to run. I got some video editing to do, but I'm going to be listening to the rest of the broadcast. Thanks, brothers.
You know, you're always welcome in the old TPOT YouTube page, Brother Samuels.
All right, y'all. Take it easy.
I wanna say this. Well, first I want to say this before I say what I was going to say. Let's get these likes. Let's get these here likes up, man. Y'all know I don't like this number to be different from this number. They should be the same. At the very least, those numbers should be the same. Why is there more here than there is there? Do we have to do this every week? Fine, we'll do it this week. I want you to take that hand, nice and slow. Move it over to that button that goes like this and click, and you're done. I mean, it literally takes 4-5 seconds tops for you to do this, folks. I mean, you're in here, you might as well hit the like button. You might as well. It's not like I'm asking you for $1. I'm asking you for a simple like. But if you're feeling generous, you can drop a few coins in this here bucket right there. See it coming up on the screen where it says the Proper Thought Series. See that right there? Streamlabs.com, the Proper Thought Series. If you're feeling generous, go ahead, drop a few coins in the bucket. It's greatly appreciated because y'all know this is worth some money. Let me ask you brothers this. We have talked and spoken about men, the black men. What do you brothers think about our women, black women? Do you think that they have tried to pick up whiteness, trying to act white, or are they trying to be a better version of black? What about them? What about our women? Go ahead, brother.
I think a lot of sisters, they now back in the 80s, I just remember when they were wearing the fake stuff, it was usually some type of clip-on type thing. But now in days it's like the whole head thing, and it's usually straight. And some people are saying that they need to fit in with corporate America, or sometimes the society does not really accept their whole natural look. So they need to do that to make the money. And on another note, in Brazil, when I go there, the black women are encouraged to even straighten their hair in order to get a good job. So even those little, you know, those fine women with that wild curly hair, like the chick from Different World and all that, they want, even in Brazil, they want them to straighten that hair in order to get some kind of decent job. So it seems like, you know, they are being pushed in so many ways to look different, and then probably even, I mean, I don't know about act different, but it's probably all these different descriptions to take you away from the community in order for you to make money or to even fit in. And sometimes when they get back to the community, that's when they probably get the, you know, the pushback, because it's damn near like acting, you know, taking an acting gig. You got to put on the act, put on the face, put on the hair, put on everything. And then when you come back, it's like, who are you? And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, oh my God. And it's like, no, but that's not how you don't normally talk. You know, it's like you're trying to get them out of character. I have cousins that went through that. That's how I know. And I'm sitting there like, man, I mean, and I know they're not the only ones, and I see it a lot. But the problem is, I don't think they're being honest to what's going on here. That's my thing. They're not willing to even discuss what's happening, and you know how we can overcome this. That's what I see.
Anyone else? Brother Gab?
Appreciate it.
Nah, I'll rest. I think brother made a really interesting point.
All right.
Brother Info? Brother Info still there?
Oh, he's probably eating Zachary's pizza. We were talking about that on another panel.
Well, you know, Brother Info, he'll be on like 2 or 3 streams at once, you know, and he'll be doing a radio show all at the same time. So yeah, he'll be on like 2, 3 streams at once doing a radio show, you know, so he might be on another stream. Me, I will say this. You often hear the white standard of beauty, which I kind of don't understand that particular statement, white standard of beauty, because I believe beauty is universal, and I don't think that it can be I don't think it can be described by black or white or Latino or Asian or anything else. So when I hear that, that kind of perplexes me. But I do think that many of the black women within black society has subscribed to that narrative
Mm-hmm.
because they have taken on these things that don't necessarily look like us.
Right.
With the hair, with the fake contacts, and like you said, it's almost like putting on a disguise. I think
Yeah.
it I think it goes deeper than us, like we spoke of earlier, as us putting on a uniform. When we put on a suit, they don't put on just a uniform when they're dressing nice. They do the whole thing. They put on the hair, the fake eyelashes, the fake contacts. Some of them lighten their skins,
Yep.
getting nose jobs, rhinoplasty, and all this other kind of nonsense stuff that's not indicative of us. So they have made themselves not just look uniforms, but they have went all out and made themselves look different. One thing about us that, and I know you brothers see this too, if you look at Asian men and Asian women, they kind of look alike. They look similar. If you look
Mm-hmm.
at white men and you look at white women, they look similar. If you look
Mm-hmm.
at Latino women and Latino men, they look similar. But if you look at black men and black women don't really look similar to us,
Yeah. All of,
especially when they're walking around with long platinum blonde hair, blue
yep.
contacts, inch of makeup on them. They don't really look similar to us, if y'all can understand what I'm saying. Other
Yes.
other ethnic groups, their women look similar to them. Our women don't look similar to us. They look different from us because of the accoutrements, that they adorn themselves with us. And the more the accoutrements that they adorn themselves with us, the less that they adorn themselves with, the less like us they start to look. And I think that is purpose. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think that they are purposely trying not to look like us, or better yet, look like themselves. So I do believe that they have kind of signed on with the quote unquote white look. Okay. I think
Mm-hmm.
they have signed on to that. And I think that it is a majority of black women who have signed on to that. It's not like it's this little sliver, or this little section, or I think the majority of them have signed on to that as they get farther and farther away from what they look like naturally and farther away from looking like us. I think they are trying to get closer and closer to look like, something else, whether that be white, Asian, Latino, whatever case may be. I think they're trying to get closer to that and further from us. That's my opinion on that.
You know what?
Go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
This reminds me of, I think it was the third episode of Roots when when Kuta Kinte was looking for Fanta. I don't know if anybody remember that particular part. And when he found her, he was grown up at the time. When he found her, she was grown up and she had like a little perm. And he said, "Fanta, I found you." And she said, "My name is not Fanta anymore. I don't answer that name. My name is Maggie." Okay. So Fanta was that natural princess that he knew back in Jifferay before he got to America. But when he finally found her and he was ready to escape with her, she was the master's bed wench. So, and then when it was time for him to escape, she didn't even want to hear him talk about it. So it kind of reminds me of that, You know, you bought into what master want instead of, and even if you had a chance to escape, you ain't trying to escape because you're used to this lifestyle. So it kind of reminded me of that episode of Roots.
Nah, good point. Prophet dropped off some kind of way. Oh no, he's back.
Yeah, I'm
I
back.
see him.
I'm back
I see
now.
him.
I don't know what the
Okay.
hell happened, y'all, but I'm back.
Yes, that's been happening lately. Nah, good point. The whole uh, standard of beauty being white has to always meant to me. My understanding of it was that they promoted a certain look and made sure that that look always got the top spot, which made it be the darling in a lot of the world's eyes, and they do this everywhere they go. Now, recently, that look is modifying. Like that's what Prophet was talking about. It's modifying, so the standard of beauty is now becoming some other kind. It ain't statically that white, blonde, blue-eyed woman anymore. It's becoming the Persian now. It's the yeah, it's that look now. That type look has been put as a standard of beauty, which is still a white woman, but we can see what's going on now. It then got into some kind of a slightly darker, exotic look now. But and what they do in order to make it the standard, because what they did was blend it. Because now she's altered, like the Kardashian is a altered figment herself. She's not the same white girl she always was. She done got, huh?
The Silicon Valley.
Yeah, Silicon Valley. So it's altering, and I'm wondering, is that a testimony? Even that alteration that's going on, is our culture gaining dominance, or is that just simply another trick to try to hold on to power? So whatever it is, to me, for me, it's my duty to always make my women, the women of our culture, um, the standard of beauty for my children and for all that's under our influence. And as we move into positions of power, to shift that power so that the standard of beauty changes along with our shift. So this is all responsibility as leaders in the community. We have to continue to keep that focus, and we do as everybody else does. Santa Claus is the or the savior of that culture. I shouldn't use Santa Claus, but the savior of every culture. It looks like that culture. So because it's the standard of itself, it saves itself. So I want, to always keep that as a focus for our community. And that's what I want to pass on to our community. And so that's my contribution to that particular part of the discussion.
I got a spiritual build on it. And am I going out of turn? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Pull the trigger.
I wanted to look at it. They said a black woman's glory is her crown, which is her hair, right? Or actually a woman in general, but mainly we just say the sisters. And the other part is I heard another saying that men seek power for love and women seek love for power. Where we lose that connection, how are we as brothers seeking power and how are there as women seeking love? Because basically, do we represent the power, or does the powers that be mean the white establishment represents the power? And where are they going to place their love? Because the thing is, from what I gather, that the way that they dress provides their self-esteem. And the thing about them dressing that way, they're not who they are. I mean, have you ever check out those people when they were wearing their Halloween costumes? They act a certain way, they moved a certain way just because they were Superman or Wonder Woman. But think about that with somebody wearing that just to look supposedly good to someone's standard. And then when it's time to really put things on the table that's real, we're acting surprised that nothing can ever get done when you can't be real about yourself versus the situation. So my whole thing is, it's not about cosmetics. It's not about what color your hair is, but the whole thing is that how real are you inside and out? What is it? How do you feel about yourself to where from what you were born, where you were born? How do you feel about that versus who are you trying to please? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, people claim that they say, I just do this for me. If that's the case, you'll be walking outside the way you looked inside the house. So that's not a real honest statement. You're trying to please somebody. And the thing is that person that you're trying to please, is that the person that's standing in the way of connecting with your family, your community, your man? And I think in some aspects, some of the brothers have that identity issue too, who you trying to look like someone that you're not. But I think the sisters got it real bad is because they do the whole makeover. And then the last part I would add on this is that they're willing to fight you tooth and nail about this rather than just saying, okay, I'm going to do what I want. They will fight you to do this. That's the problem. This is logical stuff going on.
I apologize, brothers. And for good points, Art. Very good, powerful points, brother. I apologize. I had a very important phone call, family related, given these holidays. So I just wanted to let you know I'm still here, Brother Prophet.
Oh yeah, we were just talking about as I said, we had talked about the men and quote unquote acting black or acting white. So I was asking the brothers, what do they think about our women, our black women? Have they subscribed to the whole white, quote unquote, white thing, being that there is a white, quote unquote, standard of beauty? Have our women subscribed to the whole white thing?
I would have to say I'm afraid they have. When you look at black women have always been in a position of having to compete with white women. They feel that they compete with white women for beauty standards, and they are competing with white women for us as black men. So when you look at, for example, I always find it interesting how some black women, not all, they will like to dye their hair, blonde. They'll put blonde streaks in their hair. Even back in the day, and you remember this, Brother Prophet of Thought, you remember back in the day when women would wear, I guess in the 70s or 60s, the women would wear the light eyeshadow. It was makeup that wasn't designed for them. It was really designed for white women.
Yeah.
And so they were wearing that type of stuff that really didn't look proper on them. So I think our women have been culturally conditioned like us. The standard of beauty is white, and whether subconsciously or unconsciously, they have tried to live up to that standard. And I think this is why black women have a problem with us when it comes to white women, because they feel like, damn, I'm doing everything I can to look like them. And you didn't went off and got one for real. Damn it, So I think some of the psychology plays into this too. Why our women may think that they need to compete and look that way. And I think they do it without even realizing. Some black women will just say, hey, look, I like having different color in my hair. I like having different fashion look. But I think in some ways they don't even know, just like us, that what they're doing is pushing the concept of white beauty. It's in the magazines, it's in the ads. I mean, I mean, you didn't really have too many black supermodels. Beverly Johnson came along. There really hasn't been that many, really. And still today, most of the standard of beauty in magazines are usually still white women. And when they do use black women, they have to have some exotic look. They have to be very fair skinned, light skinned, they have to look a certain way that they're black, but they also look like they're something else. That's why Beyonce, let's just keep it real. That's why Beyonce really has taken off in her, because she falls into that stereotype to a certain degree, being a black woman who does not look like a typical black woman, very fair skin. She's got the blondish hair and what have you, that she's got going on. So I'll leave you with that.
I have a question though for the brothers though. I had a long back and forth with Umar Johnson about this a while ago, and he said that what we're talking about is the brother's fault. What do you guys think about that?
That it's our fault?
That's what he said. Yes.
Well, I'll just say this. How would it be our fault if both black men and black women are both pushing the same narrative? Black men, we have been inundated by image as well as black women. So if black women and black men we're living in the same communities, we are exposed to the same cultural conditioning. So I think it's too easy just to say, well, it's black men's fault. It's too easy to say that when we both are being inundated with this cultural conditioning. I think if black men are judging black women by white standards, then that is because of the byproduct of the society that we live in. Because let's remember, there was a time when black women, especially in the 80s and earlier, when black women were chasing after lighter skinned black men. So if black women were doing it and black men are doing it, that tells me that we both have been conditioned. Because I remember back in the day when if you were a darker skinned brother and the lighter skinned cat came around, he was getting all the action. Now, did black men make black women do that? So you can't have it both ways, because we didn't make black women chase after light-skinned brothers, did we? No more. So, we're both in the same damn boat together, I hate to say.
Yeah, I don't believe that black men are the reason that black women want to look a particular way. I think media, propaganda, beauty standards, I think that has a lot to do with it. I think if you want me to get really, really down to what I really think, I think it's sort of connected to what I said earlier. I think that black women have a view of themselves that they need to look closer to white or Latino or Asian to be considered acceptable in the workplace, to be acceptable to men, to compete with other women. That's what I believe. I don't think black men have too much to do with it. Now, you hear this argument a lot, right? See, now we're going to go into DXL mode, okay? You hear this bullshit argument a lot, where you hear women talk about, oh, we do this, for you guys, we change our hair for you because, y'all like white women. So we change our hair for you. We lighten our skin for you. We put on fake contacts for you. We get surgery and all this kind of nonsense for you. But see, this is just the thing. You do not hear black men talking about black women's hair, black women's fake contacts, black women lightening their skin, black women getting breast implants, black women getting rhinoplasty. But they give you this narrative of this is why they do it. The biggest complaint that brothers have about black women is not their hair, their eyes, their skin color, their eye color, none of that. the biggest complaint that black men have about black women is their damn attitude. So if they are talking about changing all of this crap for us, why the hell aren't they changing the thing that we complain about the most? Not not the shit that we don't care about, because most men, we don't give a damn about your hair. We don't give a damn about your fake damn contacts, your rhinoplasty, your breast implants. We don't care about that kind of crap.
Yeah.
What we care about is your damn attitude. So if you're changing all this other crap that you claim you're doing for us, why the hell ain't you changing your damn attitude for us? So I just think that that's BS. All right. That's just total complete BS. All right.
No, they're competing with white. They're competing with white women. They've been competing with white women ever since.
Exactly.
And it's easy to say, well, we do this for black men, and you're absolutely right. When we have these brother talks, black men' main complaints is about the attitude and our women not being willing to cooperate with us. I very rarely hear brothers just complain about the cosmetic stuff. Every now and then we get on a tangent about, the weaves and all of that. Occasionally brothers will bring it up, but it ain't really the most, like you said, Brother Prophet, it ain't the most glaring issue for us. And I don't sometimes understand why our women don't get that. And they're so, because they use that as sort of their linchpin, sort of their crutch to not deal with the fact that they're doing it for other psychological reasons as it relates to this white woman.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I would probably give them the best T-shirt to wear. Mainly, if you can't be yourself, you can't act yourself. You gotta be who you are in order for you to act like a real person. I mean, they all connected. You walking around playing Ronald McDonald or whatever, and then later on you're gonna try to be sexy in that Ronald McDonald uniform or whatever. It just ain't gonna fly. You got everything has to match. Everything is connected. That's why. I mean, if you notice, a lot of people that do all this extra stuff, they do have these horrible attitudes, very deep, and they try to say, "I'm just being a diva." I mean, what the fuck is a diva? I'm sorry.
My belief is that many women, man, within black society, they feel like the further they get away from us, the better off they're going to be, and that's a pretty foolish way of thinking, because see, what often happens is you isolate yourself from people that you are more than likely going to end up with. I mean, because let us be clear, man. I mean, only about 3% of black women are dating other people. I mean, only about 3% of them on a whole. So I mean, the other 97% is they are going to have to be with a black man if they want a man. So for them to be trying to distance themselves from us and trying to look as not like us as possible obviously has not worked. Whatever goal they're trying to achieve, it's not working. Okay, because they've been at this a while, so it's not working. So it's time to try something else. It's just time to try something else. And far as trying to embrace a whiter look, a more European look, a more Asian look or Latino look, whatever kind of look all black women are trying to embrace, what they have to understand is that when they embrace that look, they are competing with these other women. And let me tell you something, you cannot out Latina a Latina if you're not one. You can't out white woman a white woman if you're not one. You can't out Asian an Asian woman if you're not one.
Those are great points, brother.
Just can't do it.
You can't do it.
Yeah,
Cannot
and
do
Those
it.
are great points. Great points.
Like Information Man said too, they even throw the blonde streaks in there, man. I'm like, how far do you want to go? I mean, matter of fact, they just remember that this picture's going around with Black China with this bleaching cream, and I'm hearing it's selling pretty good.
Yeah. Let me tell you, brother, something. Sometimes when a black woman is in her natural state of beauty, it's 10 times better than all that other cosmetic crap. Now, I looked at a photograph of a black woman, beautiful chocolate sister, straight black hair, had a nice outfit on, skin shining and glistening. She was beautiful just the way she was in her natural state. No blonde hair, no none of this cosmetic crap. She was absolutely fantastic. I don't I think that a lot of times our women don't realize that some of us brothers, we like them when they can just be themselves in their natural beauty. And you have to ask yourself, brothers, do we really recognize their natural beauty? Because when they're wearing so much fake stuff, we can't sometimes recognize their natural beauty. I'm just saying that in general. Although, like Brother Prophet said, we are most concerned about the attitude, because I don't care how fine or attractive a woman is or how much she got herself made up. If she's got a nasty attitude, she becomes unattractive and she becomes ugly to me. The attitude is so ugly. And I think that's where a lot of our women, some of our women don't get it, that it's the attitude that we just don't want to have to put up with. And that is what makes them ugly to us, when they have the attitude.
You know,
I agree.
I have to, sometimes I really go out of my way when whatever opportunity I have, because I think from what I gather from a lot of sisters, not enough of us brothers are really letting them know that natural look is the shit. We don't put the emphasis enough like we should.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we could only do that on an individual basis. I mean, we could only do that with our women. I mean, like my woman hasn't wore that stuff, man, in like forever. She wore it when we first got together, but I mean, she slowly, got away from that. She hasn't worn that stuff in years, and I'm glad she
I'll take it
doesn't.
back.
I'm glad she doesn't. Well, we've been joined by Brother AM1. What's good, Brother AM1?
AM1 here.
Yeah, AM1's in the
do
house.
Should I do it?
Hey, what's good? I hope I sound okay. I'm kind of out and about. I just left from kicking with the fam.
It's all good.
And I'm in the car, so I don't know how I sound. I sound okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
It's fine.
AM1, I can hear you, brother.
Are you
on
man here? Zachary's Pizza, AM1?
Zachary's Pizza?
Yeah.
It's funny. I had some pizza last night. I wanted Zachary's, but no, I was just kicking it with the fam.
We were talking about you tonight, brother.
Talking about me? Uh-oh. What'd I do now?
No, we were just talking about the Bay Area, the places in the Bay Area.
Yeah, we happened to talk about. We were talking about Zachary Pizza, and I was talking about how when I lived there, I might have only eaten in that place in terms of a set down meal when I was married one time, because of how crowded it gets and how the lines were out the door, because you got UC Berkeley and all the students and everything. And then they had mentioned about how I think someone said that when they mentioned that to you about Zachary's, you had this look on your face of like delicious.
No, Zachary's is hella good, and you're absolutely right. I've never sat down and eaten in there because it's always dumbass packed. Nah, I get that pizza and get to the house and eating it. No, indeed. You're absolutely right. I can co-sign that for sure.
Yeah. And,
so now that you're here, Brother AM1, you want to weigh in on this?
You know, I haven't been listening in, but I did catch that last little piece of what you guys were saying as far as kind of paraphrasing, a beautiful woman can make herself not look good because of her attitude. That's just pure gems. And another point is, I love the look of Black women rocking their natural hair looks. And I do think that's something we could do. Like, let's all of us do this. This is something I was trying to really drop on a stream with Info Man, but the whole thing got kind of sidebarred with somebody else who jumped in the chat. But what if we do this? What if we all agree that every week, brothers that do content on a weekly basis, a few times a week, we all agree that we're going to drop a video on the same topic and put a hashtag about that particular topic, so it's showing this unified sort of effort of brothers really building. And if we do that, it's going to be really empowering. And then a lot of the sisters that's doing just the bashing stuff over and over are going to kind of catch wind of it. Hopefully they will, and it's going to illustrate the idea that, hey, these brothers are getting it together and doing something that's a unified front. And something we can start off with is making a video on our thoughts on Black women rocking natural looks and bigging that up. What say you, my gentlemen?
Well,
I think that's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Or natural, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's two things. Like one, how do you feel about it? I think it's dope. I love it. And then Brother X was just saying, the idea of how we can do that on an individual basis. I think we can use YouTube to convey certain messages in a unified sort of way. And if you do agree that you like Black women rocking natural looks, if each of us used like a common hashtag and really did it in a unified effort and said, hey, black women, to our sisters out there, we love that look. Just a quick little 2-minute video, just something like that. I don't know. It's an interesting idea. We can use that for any topic, though.
No, I think we should do it. I'll tell you right now, I am prepared to produce a video with that very thing in mind. So I think we should do it. I think every brother that's down with that should do it. And I think how we should coordinate it, which will really blow Black YouTube off of its top. I think we should coordinate it where we all drop our videos about the same time.
Exactly. I love it.
Synchronized.
Exactly. So we pick a day, pick a topic on a certain day of the week before, and then everybody get their video ready and drop it on a Tuesday, kind of a dry ass day of the week. So it's more people will get it and then kind of rock out the rest of the week. So how they drop new music on a Tuesday,
Yes.
Black YouTube, the brothers will drop something positive on a particular topic that Tuesday, and we let it rock for that week. And then the following Tuesday, we drop something positive on another topic, but definitely something positive though. You know what I mean? Something we all agree on, and that's positive. That's some scary shit. Scary to the people who would love to see it disorganized. That's a simple thing we can do to show a unified front on being positive and using this media as a strategic effort to really, make some noise and elevate some things. Not to sidebar the show, but I'm just saying.
No, you're right.
Something I wanted to drop a while ago.
Yeah, well, I could get behind something like that. I could get behind something like that.
Sorry about that, Egg. Sorry about that.
No, don't worry about it. I listened to you talk, brother AM1. I'm pretty sure you done been accused of talking white or sounding white before.
Oh man. Yeah, no, I can definitely holler about that. I mean, yeah, that's my whole life, man. Don't pair together being a light-skinned ass dude. I'm saying light-skinned jokingly. Being a light-skinned Black man and speaking the way I speak, oh, you sound white, you square, you ain't really Black, you piss colored, I like the chocolate men. Yeah, my whole life. I don't know. I mean, I can't help the type of education and the people I grew up around as far as how I speak. Watch out. I mean, I've been in some interesting areas. I grew up in some hood ass shit. I grew up in some suburb type shit. So it's it's all there. I grew up hip hop, straight up slang. So, that's all a part of me. But I know in certain environments, certain shit is appropriate. Certain things are not. You know what I mean? A kind of a code switch thing. It's not me being fake or anything, but being strategic. Certain folks, you need to talk a certain way to convey yourself a certain way, and it's good for business. You feel me? I don't know. It's an interesting dynamic.
But brother, historically, Black people in general and Black men specifically, we've always had to sort of adapt how we speak as a survival mechanism.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. And I would say beyond just surviving, you know what it is here. Info Man, Bay Area is real diverse. There's opportunities to easily slip into some hood ass shit. And there's opportunities to level up into some, world-class resource type shit. So it's beyond just survival, you want to be able to speak and convey yourself, to the folks you grew up around. And, if there's a difference in language or communication to folks that have a more worldwide resource level, you know what I mean? You want to be able to do that because that's how you thrive, not just survive. You feel me?
Yes.
Especially if you know your vocabulary.
Vocabulary, yeah, leveling up. I mean, again, I'm a big hip hop dude, so I was always reading a lot, writing a lot of raps, in my teenage years. So vocabulary was a big thing to me, lyricism, real hip hop shit, not just the same old hood shit over and over. So that's always been big. I mean, I'm a nerd. I mean, I'm an artist as a designer. I spent a lot of hours in my youth writing raps in the house, reading books, reading encyclopedias back to back to back, drawing shit. So it's like reading at a young age has definitely expanded my vocabulary, and that creates more neural pathways in your brain. You know what I mean? It puts you in a position to really understand it. Your comprehension skills are just on a different level.
Absolutely. I want to say this to black folks out there, especially young black folks. I don't want I don't want you to feel bad because people are angry at you because you have a command of the English language. I
Hmm.
mean, there's nothing wrong with having a command of the English language. There's nothing wrong with being able to string coherent sentences together. Now, people will tell you that it is. They will tell you, "Oh, you're acting white," because your vocabulary is more than 50 words like theirs. You should take that as a compliment. When people tell you that you are acting white, do not feel bad, because what they're really saying is you sound like you know more shit than I know. You sound like you study more than I study. You sound like you read more than I read. You sound like you understand more than I understand. So if people are telling you that you sound white, you know what you should say? Good. Thank you. Say thank you. Don't feel bad. Say thank you. Um,
Absolutely, absolutely.
I wanna read y'all something that was written in the chat by someone. I know I'm gonna say the name wrong. Don't be mad at me, lady. Naima Buckner. She wrote, well, this is when we were talking about the women subscribing to the white standard of beauty, if you will. She said, well, TPOTS, we are very masculine as a whole because we are taking on the role as a male. We don't want to. The more supportive that the man is, the more feminine we can be. Now, I understand where she's coming from, but what I'm trying to figure out is, what does that have to do with blonde hair, blue contacts, rhinoplasty,
Oh,
makeup, breast implants? I'm trying to get her to come up on here and state her case, but I don't think she's gonna do it. So
wow.
the
Very
invita-
interesting.
the invitation is open, of course. It is open. Oh, War Secrets is in here too. War, you want to jump on? You want to jump on? Email me. I think you got my email. I'm not sure. Yeah. This is the thing though, man. Because we're not gonna be on here too much longer. It's getting kind of late. Okay, she says she working on it. She working on it. She must be gonna come on and plead her case. This is the thing. If we have one side, because see, one thing about us black men, we don't really care if you say, we talk white, we act white, we do this, we do that. We don't really care about that. Now, I think women, it's a little different. I think it's a little different with women because, see, if you accuse them of trying to act white, they are more readily to try to, you know, defend against it than we are. Because like we talked about before, they usually say that the things that they do for us because, we're more impressed with white women than we are them. So they are trying to, imitate or be a prototype of white women, if you will, because I don't think they can really imitate. I don't think any black person can imitate a white person. I just think that's impossible. Unless you bleach your stuff all the way down to whiteness, you can't imitate a white person. But far as how a white person looks, how a white person carries themselves, how a white person conducts their lives, I do believe that there are not as many of us black people doing that as people would say. Now, I said earlier that if people call you, they say that you're sounding white, you're acting white, you're talking white, go ahead and embrace that and take it as a compliment. Now, what comes with that is a caveat, because see, what people will say to you is that you are a coon, You are a Sambo. You are a sellout for the simple fact that you have good diction, good vocabulary, command of the English language, and you know how to string a coherent sentence together. People will say that about you. But I want y'all to understand that that's not necessarily true. Just because you are a person who is very articulate, you are a person who are very measured with how you speak, you are a person who is well read. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't let people, there's something else I want to let you know. Don't let people convince you that you're somehow some coon or some sellout, or you're selling out your people because you've decided to be better. Okay. I don't want you to think that either. I don't want you to think that, you know, you're doing some Sambo act or shucking and jiving, as they would say, because you choose to speak a certain way, dress a certain way, or even act a certain way, or take on certain things that aren't quote unquote traditionally black. Because like Brother Infoman said earlier, we should be we should be more cultured. We should have broader horizons. We should be doing different things. We should be listening to different kind of music. We should be reading different kind of books, because I don't think anyone has the market on blackness as of yet. I don't think anyone has patented as of yet. I don't think anyone has a patent on blackness yet. Okay, when they get a patent on it, then they can talk shit to you. Okay, no one's got that patent yet, so you're fine. Um, let me ask you brothers this. Do you brothers believe that the reason why people are accused of being quote unquote acting white, do you believe that that is a defense mechanism for some of our people's failure? Do they say
Absolutely.
that because, okay, go ahead. Go ahead. He said no.
Absolute. Man, even my own father. No, because you know, my father still has that southern twang. You know, he's from Mississippi. Uh, he says fence to a lot, another one. How some of the comfortable old school brothers from the South speak. But when we're having conversation, and when I'm articulating something to the point to where he's not really privy to the history, he goes into the way I talk. And then later on, do you think you know more than me? And I'm like, I'm in my 40s and I'm still having this kind of conversation. you know, and yeah, it people go right into that, because when someone says you think stuff like you think you better than me, you think you know more. I mean, it's almost in a way to where you kind of admit a defeat to the point to where, how could you know this much, or how could you speak this way knowing that I'm in this condition? How dare you, type of thing. And my whole thing is, I mean, people can't change who they are. If your vernacular works for you, then fine. But if you're trying to, if you think that just because somebody speaks a certain way equals the level of intelligence over you, I mean, I know some people that got the most split language and all kinds of stuff that has way more intelligence than anybody else. I think the bottom line is that you have to get away from, people have to get away from the fact that somebody articulates things more than the other person with the King's English is somewhat of a lower grade. Probably maybe in white society, but in your neighborhood, you got some people, like I said, you got some people that are very grassroots, that don't speak the King's English as well, but they know all kinds of ways on how to heal a sickness, or or do a whole garden. I mean, all kinds of things. So yeah, I did run into that, but you know, my father and different people, and it's even kind of hard to explain. Like, hey man, just because I'm speaking like this, don't mean I feel I know more than you. I mean, why you have to go there the way I speak? But I'm done.
Brother Info, Brother AM1.
You wanna go ahead, Info?
I'm here. I think everything has been laid out, brothers. We have to get away. Like I'm going to say it again. Excellence is what we should be striving for. Um, I'm not concerned about how a person talks as much as I'm more concerned about what they do. So, so it doesn't matter if someone can talks a certain way. It doesn't sound kind of a street or whatever. Let me see what they're doing. I'll give you another perfect example. When I was in college, I was in part of a pretty radical organization. We had some brothers with the dreadlocks. They had the whole, dreadlock, and they had the red, black, and green clothing and the everything, right? And one brother said he would never join the military because that's the white man's this and white man's that. So I used to hang out with these brothers in this organization, and what I found out is that it does not matter how street a guy talks, how much red, black, and green he wears, or how much, because both of these, one of them ended up going to the military when he said he never would. One of them, was married to a white woman, the whole nine yard. And what I find is you can have a brother in a Bruce Brothers suit, a brother with penny loafer shoes on. He might be more radical. He might be more revolutionary than some brother who's got a red, black, and green bandana. Okay. Now, I didn't dress in that attire. I wore, regular attire. But out of the bunch of these guys, I probably was the most active brother. But I didn't have I didn't fit the bill. I didn't have the most revolutionary look to me. So sometimes we got to get away from how somebody looks or how they talk, because a lot of people don't know that Booker T. Washington, people thought he was a Tom or whatever we want to call it, a Sam. But a lot of people don't know that Booker T. Washington, behind the scenes, was funding a lot of the what you would call revolutionary or radical black groups of the time. So he was funding them under the table. So you can't judge a brother if he wears a suit or he talks the King's English. That brother might be more revolutionary than you. And I know it to be true because I've been around brothers like this that I thought at first, hey, that brother looks corny. That brother's probably an Oreo, right? Because he talked a certain way. And then when I talked to him, I'm like, damn, this brother knows, he knows history well. He's involved in this organization. He's been donating to this organization on the under. This brother is very revolutionary. You just never know what person is before you start judging them. You never know what they could be. And the brothers that you assume are revolutionary because they got a certain look, sometimes you'll find out that they're the most punked out, the most sellout. You'll be surprised. I'll leave you with that.
Let me holler at that a little bit. That's very interesting. That's Supreme Gems from you, Info Man, and from Art. Very interesting. To holler at the point of black folks who come at certain black folks that want to come at somebody who speaks proper English or whatever. In a lot of cases, that's a mirror in faces type situation where they're being presented with somebody who speaks a certain way, and that might relate to or speak to the idea of them being more educated, which may put them in a different economic class or resource class or whatever, and they want to low-key hate on that. It's kind of a crabs in a barrel kind of thing. That's crazy, that's ignorant, that's divisive for your own people. That's the kind of thinking and mentality that's holding us back, and that's going to keep us back and maybe get us genocided up out of here. The other flip side of that is this. Just like Info Man was alluding to, you can't judge a book by its cover. There are some dudes that speak the Queen's, King's English, whatever, look square as I don't know what. May even be the light-skinned, square-looking dude like myself, because this is my life story. but who does more for and goes harder for black folks than the most black fist in the air, hotep, whatever, whatever. You know what I mean? It's more about what you do, what you're able to do, and what your intentions are than how you speak or what you say. You know what I mean? So it's like, if anything, we should be embracing the folks that are really trying to go hard for the family as a whole, regardless of how they speak, because it's very possible and it's definitely true. Somebody like myself, when they see my name on a resume, they see me walk in a room, they see how I carry myself, they're more inclined to bring me into the fold and put me in a position to secure more resources. I only have any intent and every intent to funnel that back to my people and make it to where I'm a resource for myself and for my people. If anything, my people would need to be having my back and showing me love and not turning me away from them to where I want to run to the suburbs and be like, fuck you niggas. You feel me? Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, see, this is the thing. And we're going to wrap this up in a few minutes because we've been going quite some time. Um, people, I think people kind of like Brother Art said. I mean, I think you kind of expose your own low self-esteem, your own low self-ego about yourself when you start pointing out, oh man, you using these $50 words, or you're saying, oh man, you're trying to sound like a white man. And when people say that, I think more so than anything else, they are pointing out their own shortcomings when they do that. Um, I've been around a lot of very educated brothers. I know doctors, I know lawyers. They speak very, very educated, and they use $50 words, if you will. But I've never felt the need to be like, hey, man, you're using a $50 word. I mean, I've never felt like that. I just kind of talk to them, because they're my people. I'm not concerned with how educated their sentences are, or what kind of words they're using, or the pitch of their voice, any of that stuff. I think we get caught up in these little infinitesimal details about each other. And like you brothers say, we need to be more focused on, a person's actions and intentions as opposed to, what words in the dictionary they use. Likewise, like many other people, I have often pass judgment on brothers who may not have such an extensive vocabulary, but the judgment I have passed on them is that they are misinformed, not so much that, they're stupid, or, they talk like a redneck or anything like that. I've always thought that maybe they are possibly misinformed. Um, I'm going to ask one more question and then I'm going to close out. I was waiting for Naima.
Naima Buckner.
Yeah, she's supposed to get up on the panel, but she says she's having some difficulty. I don't know what's going on. She says she emailed me, but I do not see it. Um, let me just ask you brothers this final question, man. As far as we go as black people, and with this whole acting white or acting black thing, do you think that as time goes on, as more people come into the knowledge, if you will, and greater understanding, do you think that we will find ourselves integrating more into the quote unquote white thing? Or should I say, is that what we have to do to maybe get our people up out of some of these holes that we're in? And when I say that, I don't mean that white people have the monopoly on success or building or anything else, but are we going to have to find ourselves more hooked into white people to help our people? Do y'all believe that?
I can take a shot at it. Um, I think there's power in numbers, of course, but you have to really ask yourself, You know, a lot of people that are not black love that black stereotype. But when you become articulate, you get the biggest frown sometimes or surprise. But we don't really ask why is that. But we already know that they love that stereotype. They love to call us nigga and all this other kind of stuff. But when you're being articulate, it kind of keeps them in their zone, keeps them in their place. Because the way when we call each other N-word and all that kind of, that's our, you know, that's our thing we got to deal with. So basically, sometimes when we're using the language at probably its peak, the highest peak that we can speak it around other people, I think sometimes it kind of keeps them in their space. So when they want to try to come at us with that stereotype, it's like, hey man, I don't know you that well, so you're gonna have to back away and go somewhere else. You know, I think that's probably one of the things too, is that if you're able to, I'm not saying it's for everybody, but I'm just saying that as a larger number, to where it'll probably cut down some of the excuses why we don't have the achievements that we should have. I'm not talking about our excuse. I'm talking about the people that are not black, as far as their excuse on why. It's funny, man. They like the stereotype, but they use the stereotype against us to deny us our opportunities. That's one thing I noticed. I'll rest on that.
Info, man. You gonna go? Just keep the order.
At this point in time, I think I've said my piece for the night, brothers.
Okay. Go
I
ahead.
think I've said all that I can say on the issue.
Okay.
I'll holler at this quickly. I think to address your point, X, overall, considering our current position and tracking that back into history, we are all now born into and pinned down by a system where people have vastly more resources than us. And that's aside from race. So people talk about white supremacy. I'm like resource supremacy, because there's different racial groups, ethnic groups, or whatever around the world who have vastly more resources than us. And there's a system that is operating that, for the most part, by and large, they're all playing on, and it's all focused around resources. So we're going to have to assimilate into a system that has more power and resources than us. So we're going to have to play the white folks game or the Asian folks game, or however you want to look at it, simply because they have more resource, they have more media, they have all of that. They have us pinned down and cornered and boxed in. We have to play along on some level to get some type of resources and to stay focused, kind of like what Jewish folks have done worldwide. We have to operate on that level and get serious and sidestep all these sidebar issues. We're going to have to play along. And because of, in the US, which kind of leads the way for what the world follows, we're outnumbered. We're definitely going to have to really hone in and shape up our image, detached from non-black owned mainstream media that keeps perpetuating the thuggery, that keeps getting everybody in their feelings about who's dating who, the swirler nonsense, these sidebar distractions. We're going to have to unplug from that so that our numbers aren't confused. There isn't the Pookie and Ray Ray versus the educated lambs. All the infighting and all the division has to stop, or we're not going to be taken seriously by any of these groups that have vastly more resources than us. We're not even starting to play the game yet because we're too busy fighting each other. We got to stop that. Then these other groups will start really respecting us more. Not that we want to be respected, but we at least want to be considered that we're serious about getting these resources, to the point where when we start securing our talents and our skills, and they understand, oh, these people ain't just fucking around no more. They're serious. They're ready to really play. And when we start cornering them to have to pay us for our talent and our, cultural resources, one of the main things we give away, then we start to level the playing field, and we start to really tap in on this greater society of resources. You feel me? We're gonna have to do that, because if our numbers are low percentage in the States, in the US, we're gonna have to get serious on that level, because we're gonna need some help from these other folks. We're gonna need the allies who are our allies and want to see us win, not the ones who want to see us cooning and buffooning for their entertainment. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, man. I mean, one thing is to be, properly schooled and well read and all that kind of stuff. That's one thing. But oh, that's one thing. But another thing is to be shucking and jiving and skinning and grinning for the white man. That's something different. You know what I'm saying? So I mean we gotta try to not get those two things mixed up. You know what I'm saying? I mean it's easy for one thing to turn into another though. It is very easy for you to go from just trying to be about your money and be about your education, and the next thing you know, you're out there shucking and driving and skinning and grinning. So it's easy to do that, but I don't want what I said to everybody to be misconstrued when I said earlier, don't take it too hard when people make fun of your vocabulary and the fact that you like to read and you like to be in the library and you may play the violin or the piano or whatever you do. Don't take it too hard, but at the same time, don't get yourself don't get yourself caught up in a situation where you are literally trying to totally imitate white folks. I mean, don't get it misconstrued. We about to wrap this up. I think Lady Nima is coming on, so I'm gonna hold on for a few more minutes. I just sent her the link. I guess she want to come up here and plead her case, but we are going to wrap this part of it up.
Yeah.
Um
See my website because we need your articulated voice for my animation.
oh,
So
okay. Well, I told you, hit me up, man. Hit me
yeah,
up, brother. Hit me up.
I'm
I'm
gonna
all I'm
see my
all
website is called Masters of the Wind. I'm gonna start going in production probably sometime early spring.
okay.
I'm
Okay.
gonna scripts and do the promo part.
Okay.
Yeah, man, that's you have the perfect voice, but a narration voice for that particular animation. So
I appreciate
Art,
that,
what,
brother. I
what kind of
do, man.
animation do you do? Art, I'm an
Appreciate it.
animator myself.
I went to Cal Arts. So I do that kind of character animation.
Oh,
Uh,
word.
yeah, and I mean I do illustration. I teach art, but right now I'm gonna get back into the regular classical animation, hand drawn stuff. And I also work with Leo Sullivan. He's the first black animator for Hanna-Barbera.
Mm. Yeah,
So
I am humbled and honored, brother, that you would want me of all the millions of people that you could have. You have chosen me. I am humbled and honored. I
I have
am
a
really.
very distinct ear for voices, accent. Man, hell, my wife is Brazilian. I love the way she talks.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that, brother. I do. Um, I appreciate y'all brothers coming on. I do. I mean, this is.
X, can I say one thing?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Real quick. Everything that I just said, I want you, because I can't see the chat, and I just want to clarify. I am not in any way speaking to the idea of respectability politics to where
You're breaking
I'm
up. You're
thinking
breaking
we should
up. You're
act a
breaking
certain
up.
way.
AM1, brother.
Ah,
AM1, you're breaking up.
Repeat.
on the road.
Yeah, you breaking up bad too.
Yeah, I think it is going to be breaking up. Fall off.
I like craft work.
What I like to say, brother X, once again, I appreciate you having me on your platform this evening. Art, you're the best brother, very talented brother. AM1, I think Brother Gab was on here earlier
Yeah,
tonight. Kevin
yeah.
Samuels. So once again, I really like being on your program, brother, because you allow brothers to speak their mind, to speak freely. And the truth of the matter is, where else, when you think about it, where do black people have a place to speak? Either in the barbershop, the beauty, but outside of those institutions, um, there's not a hell of a lot of places that black men in particular can be able to speak candidly outside of the barbershop type setting. To be able to do this is liberating for us as men, and it also helps us to think about building ourselves up, improving ourselves when we come together with like-minded brothers. That's the key. And that is, I think, the key to also changing this narrative about what is black culture. So I appreciate you, brother, for that.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. As always, man, you know you my brother. You know, you're always welcome on here, man. That goes for all of y'all. You know, y'all always welcome on the old TPOT YouTube page. I
Honor to
want
be, brother. It was an honor to be here.
absolutely. And you know, whenever you're ready, man, you say you're going down in early spring, man, just hit me up because I know you got my email and all that. So, you know, I'm here
Yeah,
for you. I'm here for you, brother, whenever you need me. All right.
I appreciate it, black man.
Absolutely.
I just sent you the email. I mean the website page. So
Okay.
just get a glance at the images so you have an idea.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna check that out tonight. I'll be checking that out tonight, right after this here stream. Um, what I want y'all to do right after this here stream is I want you to get on down there to the Prophet of Thought series. That's Prophet of Thought, one word series, another word. Get on down there to Proper Thought series on Facebook. Go ahead, like the page, share the page, follow the page. That's a community page. That's our main page. That's where you can find all our stuff at, old videos. I mean, it goes on and on and on because there's a bunch of archive stuff there. You can actually go through the whole history of TPOT, because what y'all don't know about TPOT is it's been around for a few years, and a lot of people have been in and out of the doors of TPOT to the tune of like 20 folks. Yeah, boys, people have come and gone. You know, I had a team of 9 people at one time, had a team of 3 people, then a team of 6 people, but somehow it managed to be just me now. But go on there, check out the old Prophet of Thought series Facebook page. It's the main page. You can even catch up with me there. You can leave me a message. I always answer back within 24 hours or so. Also, go ahead, check out the TPOT bandwagon page on Facebook as well. That is a personal page. You can actually leave that page a friend request, and I'll make sure it gets confirmed quick. And while you're doing that, get on over there to the old Prophet of Thought series fan group page. That's the Prophet of Thought series fan group page. There's about 2,800 members in it now. I can't believe that many of y'all actually follow my stuff. I'm humbled and honored, like I always say. So go ahead, request to be a member of the group. You'll easily get in. If you don't, write me. I'll make sure you get in. I don't admin the group, but I do control it. So I'll make sure you get up in there. Go ahead, request to be a member of the old Prophet of Thought series fan club and get on up on the page. There's always some good stuff on there because, like I always say, it ain't just me on there running my mouth. There's a bunch of other people running their mouths too. So get on down there and check it out. Also, check us out on WhatsApp and Instagram. That's right, Prophet of Thought on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram. You guaranteed to get a follow back. And here we go again. Here we go again. Get on down there to the Twitter page. Like I tell y'all every week, the Twitter handle is at TPOT Media on Twitter. That's at TPOT Media on Twitter. Get on down there and follow us on Twitter, because if you don't, Christmas Eve night, I'll be haunting you in your damn dreams. And we also got a new TPOT website coming soon. It is in the making. Trust me, it's going to be here soon, probably before year's end, because it's being worked on as we speak. I'm going to make sure that it's very interactive so you can get on down there and check it out. So be looking forward to that. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody in my chat room for coming through tonight, my moderators for always doing what they got to do. And also, I want to thank you for stopping by and showing up and spending some time with us tonight. And also, I want to thank my most esteemed panel, Brother Info Man, Brother Art, Brother AM1, Brother Gab Talk, and Brother Kevin Samuels for coming through tonight and contributing to this broadcast. It's always a pleasure to have y'all come here especially on Thanksgiving night, because like I said, there's so many other things you could be doing, and you decided to be here with us, and it is greatly appreciated. Make sure you have your black behinds here next week, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the TPOT YouTube page. Like I said, we're going to be doing Wednesday night shows every week now, so I'll see you right back here Wednesday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, with a new guest to interview, probably somebody you never heard of, but then again, maybe somebody that you heard of. So, with that, I will leave you with 3 words. Like I always do, open your minds, and we are out of here, y'all.
Peace, everyone. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Peace, folks. Only from TV.